If you've ever spent a majority of your workday laughing, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We're back, and it is a great day here today, not just because of the market behavior yesterday, but it is the first day of the Masters, one of the best Thursdays of the entire year, and we get to spend it together. Welcome back to Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Thursday. Almost said Friday again. I am having a real tough time keeping track of the days this week. Welcome back to Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Thursday, April 10th. We're going to break down all of the madness that happened and some of the opinions that went out there. Let's go ahead and get the show started. Good morning and welcome back, folks. And I hope you all had a great day after we get off the show yesterday. And I hope you had a great evening. And today, I have a feeling it's going to be an even better day. We're one day closer to the weekend. It's the start of the Masters. And the world didn't end, just like I told you. Okay. Let's go ahead and say good morning. Roach on a Tree says, missed the Trump news yesterday during a meeting. That's unfortunate because you also missed 320 handles, it seems. Pete, good morning. Welcome back. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, welcome back. Brandy, welcome back. Kayla, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Purgatory Park, what's going on? What up, Ryan and gang? What's up is we're having a great day here. We woke up and we're breathing air. Bobby, good morning. Jane, good morning. Dermo, good morning. Producer, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. We had the Trump link. Okay, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Quantum, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Wiss, welcome back. Wiss, I know that you have to treat today like a holiday. I got to imagine that you are smiling from ear to ear. Let me know who you got winning this. I actually placed a bet on 7 specific golfers to finish in the top 20. It's just this huge parlay that pays out an absolute ton. So we'll see if we get that. Let me know who you like here today. Lion, good morning. It's great to see you. Ed, good morning. JJ, welcome back. Tyler, welcome back. Matthew, welcome back. Ralph, Mitch, White Chocolate Mocha, Son of God, Joshua, Arrow, okay, Laura. Those are several of you. Several of you are re-mentioning here. Mitch is saying Benzinga Pro is down. False. That is not correct. Here is Benzinga Pro. It is absolutely working. Try logging out and logging back in. Also try refresh. That might help. And depending on what the error is, you also might be able to see some success by clearing your cookies. But I can assure you, Benzinga Pro is up and working here today. Welcome back. Allsorts, welcome back. Ivan, welcome back. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let me get this out of here. Let's go ahead and dive right in. We're going to start here with the charts, and then we're going to go over some of the news. Where is that? Here we go. Okay, sweet. So here is your chart. Look at this. So this candle here, I'm curious to know what you folks call these candles, if you have names for them. Power candle, God candle. There are a couple floating out there. And if you have any more cute describer names for candles like this that we rarely see, oh man, let me know what those are. Definitely let me know what those are. Basically, what ended up happening here, the SPY moved from the 20% pullback level or thereabouts. We were pretty much right around there. And it just kind of ripped back towards the 20-day moving average. Now, we're not quite there. That 20-day moving average actually lines up pretty good with the 10% pullback level. We're not quite there, and we're down a little bit today. That is to be expected after one of the record-setting moves that we had yesterday. We'll go through some of those stats here as well. So we did, on the way back up here, we filled some of these gaps. We actually have another gap to fill here if we can get back above this level. Also, don't forget, we do have this impending death cross. So now that we've kind of bounced back, and it should be clear, well, at least to some people, that the world's not going to end. I don't know how many people believe that, but that's obviously very clear. Now that that's not going to happen, really the next step here is going to be what happens with this death cross. Does this, first of all, do we move in such a way where the 50 kind of touches and curls up off the death cross, or do we actually get that death cross? And does that spell the next leg down here for the markets? If we do, if that does happen, we are in luck because we actually have some levels and some ranges that we can lean on to try and trade that. So this is going to be one of the next things that I'm kind of watching over the next couple of weeks here just to see how the market actually shakes out. Then we can go from there because the charts have really kind of told the story here in a lot of this. So good stuff here. Let me put the 500-day. We'll actually add that back here. You can see we actually just bounced right through that. What a rip. And the other thing here, I don't necessarily want to do victory laps all of the time, but sometimes they're warranted. And just yesterday, we had Matt Maley on in the morning outside of his normal time. And I had mentioned that he had placed a trade just purely for the purpose of kind of trading back and forth on the SPXS. I had actually mentioned that trade early in the show. And perhaps out of just a bit of, happenstance, that was at the price of those contracts was actually down from where Matt was buying them. I mentioned him on the show. I saw him shelling those contracts out for hundreds of percent gain. So anyone that's been trading with Matt is probably having a pretty good week. That dude is just insane, and he deserves his victory lap. He is extremely sharp. He seems to never miss a beat, and he doesn't seem to miss. So I think we're lucky for having him on. As I said yesterday, I appreciated that he had the time to come back here, and boy, oh boy, his members are quite happy. So real good stuff here. Huge power candle reversing the SPY. We're back up to the 20-day moving average. We're pretty much hovering around where we actually did not quite retest that 10% pullback level up here at 552-ish. Currently sitting here at 553, although we are up off of the lows that we put in here in the pre-market. Quick look around the horn here. S&P futures up 1.84%. Dow futures, S&P futures down 1.87%. Come on, Ryan. Dow futures down 1.42%, and the NASDAQ leading the way down here, minus 2.29%. So we'll see where those settle, and if they catch any footing, or if we actually, how much of the move from yesterday do we actually retrace? Let's go ahead and get in to the news real quick. Good morning, Lion. Sun-Kissed Yogi, a gift candle. I like that. I like that one a lot. That sounds pretty good. Okay. Pete, a little relieved to see a small pullback this AM. I would be more concerned if it were raging up again to start the morning. This is some wisdom here. I'm with you on this one, Pete. This is definitely a good thing that we're not like full on raging. The last couple of times that we've actually seen the pre-market where it's been like, oh man, big green arrows, had some pretty nasty reversals off of that. So I'm with you on this. The fact that it came off of the highs but didn't break down on nothing is actually encouraging to me. So we'll see if we can end up going back in or back towards the top and see if we can actually take that level out. Okay. Let's go ahead and break down what happened here. Let me go ahead and share the right screen. U.S. stocks likely to open lower ahead of the March inflation release. That's the other thing. Sorry for not mentioning that. I guess I should have done that here first. The other thing here is that we do have the CPI and the initial jobless claims number. That comes at 8:30. We have no guest this morning, so I should be able to get to that number right as it comes out. Producer, help me out. If I'm rolling or if I'm reading through something, throw that up on the screen. We can actually see how the market responds to that and go from there. Okay. U.S. stock futures were lower on Thursday after staging a stellar recovery on Wednesday after a tariff pause. Futures of major benchmark indices were down in the pre-market. President Trump attributed the tariff pause to negotiation efforts by roughly 75 non-retaliating nations in a Truth Social post. They actually had Kevin Hassett on this morning, who reiterated that several of those deals are closer than people think. So we should actually be looking out for headlines for that as well. Amid investor anxiety regarding trade barrier impacts on the economy, the investors will keep an eye on the upcoming consumer price index data. Again, we get that here this morning. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell emphasized last week that there is, quote, no rush to lower rates. It'll be really interesting to see what comes out of the Fed. They're traditionally late. I'm expecting them to be the exact same. Economists' median forecast anticipates 2.6% annual increase in the overall CPI for March 2025, a moderation from February's 2.8% and the smallest inflation figure since October of 2024. Monthly price growth is expected to project to a mere 1/10. The core CPI, excluding volatile food and energy prices, is expected to ease slightly to 3.0% year-over-year rate compared to February's 3.1%. However, the monthly core CPI is predicted to rise to 0.3%, an increase from the previous month's 0.2% pace. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.29%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.85%. The CME's Group FedWatch Tools projections show the market pricing in a 79.8% likelihood of the Federal Reserve keeping the current interest rates unchanged until the May meeting. This gets us to my first question. With all of the stuff going on, where do you folks think the rate cut is coming? I guess let's first start. Do you think a rate cut is coming? Or do you think it's just going to be a series of pauses and waits? Or do you think there's a hike coming? Let me know what it is. And let me know when you think that's coming. We were talking a little bit about this. It really seems that the majority of people fall into the June camp, which makes sense. But I do kind of think that Fed is going to be traditionally, if you will, a little bit late on that. So we'll see where we end up getting it. I am agreeing with the majority here. I don't think we have anything in May outside of a pause, but we'll see. I've been wrong before, and I expect to be wrong again. The SPY and the Qs, which track the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, were lower in pre-market trading on Thursday. The SPY was down. We already talked about that a little bit. Sorry about that. Here. So some insights from some of the analysts, and these are familiar faces. Charlie Bello from Creative Planning said in an X post that the S&P 500 logged its third biggest one-day gain since 1950 on Wednesday. Third biggest one-day gain. After logging the biggest one-day gains in the past, the stocks moved substantially higher over the next 1, 3, and 5 years every time. Okay, that's an important stat. Here's a chart for that. If you actually want this Charlie Bello tweet to save, here you go. Big B saying no rate cut, no rate hike. Seems like you're staying with the pause. That's the exact camp that I'm in. Pete, no rate cut for the near term. Depends on tariff man and the next few months. Sounds like you're in the camp there for pause as well. I don't think there were any other predictions here. Okay, keep me posted there on that. I think it seems to me like we're all kind of in the pause camp. That makes the most amount of sense. I kind of think that's where we're at. Charlie Bello quote or tweet in the chat there for you. Ryan Dietrich from Carson Research cited historical data and concluded after the S&P 500 index gains over 5% in one day, the returns on the next day and the next week are fairly weak. There you go. On average, after such a gain, the S&P 500 index falls by 0.7 the next day and 1.7% the next 5 days. However, the yearly gains after such a day are usually 26.9. Pete, just kind of going back to what you were just saying here, he's using stats to describe exactly why I agree with you, and that I'm kind of glad that we're not just full on raging here this morning. I feel like that wouldn't be healthy, and that would really be setting up for a downturn. And the fact that we're not getting that here today is encouraging. Again, we'll see if we're right about that. I don't know what the future is going to bring, but that's just kind of where I feel right now, or how I sit right now. Ryan says, wow, this is interesting. 23 times the S&P 500 has gained at least 5% in one day. The next day and a week out, fairly weak returns. But a year later, up 26.9% on average, and higher more than 91% of the time. It's these types of odds that I want to be in. That's really great. Let me know if anyone added to the long term yesterday. Were you just short term trading that huge move, or were you adding to the long term? Let me know. Dietrich also highlighted that 93.96% of all stocks on these advanced on Wednesday. Just an unbelievable number, which was the most since May 10th of 2010. Yeah, that might classify as a buying thrust. I do like some of his one-liners. They're pretty good here. Bridgewater Associates billionaire founder Ray Dalio, in a post on X, praised Trump's move to shift from escalating tensions to negotiations, calling it, quote, a much better way, end quote, and pressed the president to finalize a trade agreement with China and reduce the deficit to 3% of GDP. Dalio proposed a China deal featuring appreciating the RMB against the dollar, achievable through Chinese selling dollar assets while also easing their fiscal and monetary policies to stimulate their demand. Now, I expect the deal to get done with China. When is that going to get done? That's a good question. Trump kind of commented on this yesterday. Seems right in line there. I'm not expecting that in the near term. And then, according to Kevin Hassett here this morning, we should actually expect some other countries pretty soon to have a deal done, as they were working on this ahead of all of this, which makes a lot of this stuff even that much funnier to me. Upcoming economic data. We talked a little bit about the initial jobless claims. Fed Governor Michelle Bowman will testify at the Senate. Jeff Schmid will speak at 10. Patrick Harker, the Chicago Fed president, and Austin Goolsbee will speak at noon. And if you want any of the stocks that are in focus here, let me drop this article here in the chat for you too. That'll give you some of the stocks that we're looking to play here. And then, okay, next, let's go to another one here. Then we're probably going to be doing some tickers here pretty soon. I got a couple more stories to get through. Trump pauses tariffs after yield surge. Bond vigilantes hit another home run. Experts point to the bond market for a panic reversal. Okay, so what's going on here? Amid several theories on why President Donald Trump paused the tariffs hours after they went into effect, experts have been pushing the bond market turmoil as the major contributor to the decision. After the 10-year Treasury yield rose 34 bips from below 4% last week to nearly 4.34% on Wednesday, experts are pegging Trump's reaction to pause the tariff on the spike in yields. Now, this makes a lot of sense. We've actually had Bessent telling us that one of the goals is to get interest rates down here. The 10-year yield does seem to kind of be the North Star. We've talked about that. So that makes a lot of sense there. Ed Yardeni from Yardeni Research said, bond vigilantes hit another home run. Bond vigilante. I haven't met a bond vigilante. Let me know if any of you out there has actually met a bond vigilante, or is that just some term that gets thrown around? Anyway, a bond vigilante is a bond market investor who protests against monetary or fiscal policies considered inflationary by selling bonds, thus increasing yields. Yardeni resurfaced his 1983 quote after the yield spike and said, quote, bond investors are the economy's bond vigilantes. So if the fiscal and monetary authorities won't regulate the economy, the bond investors will. The economy will be run by vigilantes in the credit markets. Meanwhile, economist Craig Shapiro said China, just by threatening to sell U.S. treasuries, basically blew up the bond market and forced the administration to backtrack. If you believe that, then I got a bridge to sell you somewhere. However, Trump, in his Truth Social post, said that he decided to pause the tariffs because the negotiation attempted by 75 countries without any retaliation. But Shapiro added in his tweet, he didn't admit the bond market had anything to do with this. He actually said he was watching it. Literally incorrect quote from this guy. Literally said that he was watching it. I don't know if this quote came out before that or whatever, but he admitted that. Said he's been thinking about it for days. Whatever. It was a flawed rollout. Whatever is right, my friend. Whatever is right. Gary Black, managing partner of Future Fund LLC, said, in the end, Trump's stunning about face on tariffs was driven by chaos in the bond market, including the soaring 10 and 30-year Treasury yields, the prospect of a huge Republican losses in the next midterm elections, and the pressure by Trump's billionaire supporters like Diamond and Ackman, who convinced him that his tariff plan could cause a severe recession. So Gary Black, who's not in the administration, he's going to tell you how everything went down. Cool story, bro. According to Spencer Hockeyman, the founder of, and I probably pronounced that name wrong, I'm sorry about that, the founder of Tulu Capital Management, a Japanese hedge fund that was 60 times levered to the U.S. 10-year Treasury bond, 60 times levered, was responsible for the spike in yields, which indirectly influenced the direction of a tariff pause. Round of applause for the Japanese hedge fund that was 60x levered to the 10-year U.S. Treasury that blew up to save the world from a Great Depression. We will not forget your sacrifice, brother. man, some of these guys, they might want to take a few days off. That's very, very clear. They might want to go watch the Masters. It's supposed to be a beautiful weekend here. President Trump leveled reciprocal tariffs on U.S. trading partners last week on Wednesday, which followed a heavy sell-off in the market, pushing the NASDAQ into a bear market, whereas the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones were nearing bear territory. The Trump administration claimed that he was thinking about the tariff pause since Sunday. As Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told a reporter on Wednesday, "We had a long talk," he added. This was his strategy all along. Evidently, he told some other folks in the administration as well. Before announcing the pause on Truth Social post, this is probably the part that makes me laugh the most about this entire thing. Before announcing the pause in a Truth Social post around 1:18 p.m. Eastern, Trump posted in the same morning, quote, "This is a great time to buy, DJT." Now, I had mentioned that when that happened because I saw that tweet come across the wire here, and it made me laugh. I thought, I was like, that's interesting. Now, thankfully, as mentioned, I was already positioned in some of those long instruments like the SPXS puts. So I was ready to go for that. And I did. And by the way, speaking of buying, I actually when Ondas was getting pounded yesterday, I actually did add a little bit to that too. Not thinking it was going to bounce back yesterday, but thinking eventually it was going to. That worked out as well, at least so far. Trump transferred his entire stake in Truth Social. That I don't think that really matters. We already talked about that. After a period of decline, the NASDAQ 100 climbed out of bear market territory, although it remained 13.85% below its prior peak of 22,222.61 points. The S&P 500 was still in a correction, sitting 11.23% lower than its record high close of 6,147 points. Yes, we did not go back to our overly inflated highs. Also, probably a good thing in the long run. But again, we'll see how it shakes out. Okay, Ackman, who was also making some noise on this. Billionaire investor Bill Ackman and CEO of Pershing Square Capital Management on Wednesday praised Trump's decision to place a 90-day pause on tariffs for countries that have not retaliated against the U.S. The president also hiked tariffs on China to 125% effective immediately. Ackman took to the social media platform X to express his relief and gratitude to President Trump and Treasury Secretary Bessent in a series of posts. "Thank you on behalf of all Americans." I would also say that yesterday was a very, very fun day. In a subsequent post, Ackman highlighted Trump's approach was, quote, "the perfect setup for trade negotiations over the next 90 days, end quote. How many of you think Bill Ackman is kind of swinging with the wind? That would be, I think we could probably have a better poll than that, but that's an interesting question. Quote, "Pick up the phone and call the president. He's a tough but fair negotiator. The longer China holds out and retaliates, the worse the outcome is for China." That is what he's getting right. The entire administration knows this. People outside of the administration know this. Our happy hour crew has been talking about this for months, and it is just chef's kiss to see how this is all playing out. There is no doubt about it. Hats off to everyone in the happy hour group that has been doing some critical thinking and analysis over the last 6 and 12 months, really. The benefit, here's the tweet. The benefit of Trump's approach is that we now understand who are our preferred trading partners and who the problems are. China has shown themselves to be a bad actor. Nothing new there. Quote, "Supply chains are time-consuming and can be expensive and challenging to move. Once moved, they are sticky. Tick-tock." So you let me know what you think there about Bill Ackman, and let me know what you think about this entire situation. The billionaire investor had previously called for a 90-day pause on tariffs to allow for negotiations and warned of an economic nuclear winter. Boy, he's not using hyperbole at all, is he? Okay, that's what's going on with Ackman. Ackman is a flag at this point. He blows any direction on a draft. Actually, I like that. I actually might reuse that. I like that a lot. And it does I agree with you, day trader. It does kind of feel like he's just kind of waffling and waving back and forth. I think that's pretty good. Okay, next. Goldman Sachs scraps their recession call after Trump's tariff pause. Boy, oh boy. There was so much talk about a recession and fear, and I guess that's over now. Oh man, oh man. In a stunning U-turn, Goldman Sachs has officially withdrawn its call for an outright U.S. recession, issued just hours before President Trump stunned markets with the surprise announcement of a 90-day tariff pause. Surprise? Here's the conspiracy theory that I think might actually have some legs. What happened on Monday when the fake headline that somehow we got blamed for, by the way, that's also amusing. What was that all about? I'll let you think about that for a little bit. The move underscores the immediate and far-reaching implications of Trump's. Oh no, my master's coverage turned on. I was like, what is that sound? And it's my master's coverage. Let me mute that. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to pay attention to the show, and that's no good. Okay, the move. Sorry. Okay. The move underscores the immediate and far-reaching implications of Trump's announcement, which caught Wall Street experts off guard. Quote, "We are reverting to our previous non-recession baseline forecast with GDP growth of 0.5% and a 45% probability of a recession." That comes from Goldman Sachs chief economist Jan Hatzius, who also is on CNBC quite often. I was actually thinking we might hear from him on CNBC today. I haven't seen the schedule, though, so I don't know if that's the case. But producer, if you know if he's coming on, let me know. I would like to see if they interview him. The bank still expects 325 basis point Fed insurance cuts in June, July, and September, but sees a less dire macro trajectory. So I was just asking you about cuts here, and it looks like Goldman Sachs here forecasting June, July, and September. Let me know if you agree with Goldman Sachs on that. The revised forecast reflects Trump's differentiated strategy: escalate pressure on China while opening a negotiation paths for allies who have held fire. This another big time shout out to our happy hour crew, because as we've been discussing these dynamics with China and the U.S., one of the things that came up largely from our gentleman that lives in Asia and is constantly talking to folks that are involved over there, actual boots on the ground. One of the things that we were saying is that, there's likely going to be something in the middle, like the rollback of all of these tariffs, probably not going to happen. China folding like a lawn chair, probably not going to happen. And instead, something in the middle is going to be there. One of the things that our group discussed was, what will probably happen is maybe a temporary pause or a temporary reduction in tariffs on all of these other countries, and then no relenting on China. And look where we are today. So just again, really, really lucky, really lucky that group thinks critically all the time. They prepare me better and everyone else. Bigabees, I know you've kind of said the same thing here. So just a shout out to that entire group. Really just makes us all better at stuff. Trump announced a 10% minimum reciprocal tariff on non-retaliating nations. Sector-specific tariffs of up to 25% are still expected. He confirms that tariffs on Chinese imports will still be 125%. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick confirmed the scale of the pivot, writing on X that he and Treasury Secretary Bessent were with Trump as he drafted the announcement, calling it one of the most extraordinary truth posts in his presidency. Not going to read you the whole post. That's in the story if you want it. I did want to cover some of these stats here. I think we kind of already talked about them. Qs rocketed 12.2%. S&P 500 soared 9.5%. And the index was actually up over 10% earlier. Ackman, the flag blowing in the wind. Ackman, the flag blowing in the wind. Billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman hailed Trump's maneuver as, quote, brilliantly executed, end quote, adding, quote, every U.S. company that sources products in China is now finding alternative suppliers. Supply chains are sticky. Tick-tock. End quote. Okay. The other thing that happened, how much time do we have? It's 8:30. So we've got about an hour. We've got plenty of time to hit all of these. So we can do that. But let's cover a couple more of these things that happened here real fast. Here's the other thing that's going on real quick. Oh, producer's got the Masters leaderboard up there. That's going to be trouble. Okay, let me focus here. Adam Schiff. Oh, boy. How are we doing with pencil neck over here? Adam Schiff and Elizabeth Warren call for investigation into possible insider trading by Trump allies as markets surged after a 90-day tariff pause. It sure looks like corruption. Oh, now you're saying that. Okay. Key Democratic lawmakers are demanding investigations into potential insider trading relating to President Trump's market conditions before he announced a 90-day tariff pause that triggered Wall Street's strongest rally since 2008. What happened? They're raising concerns about the tweet that we read here live on this show. Oh, we got CPI. We got CPI. Thank you, Bobcat. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Let me go find that here. Is that out? Market's ticking up here. Oh, it is out. Here you go. CPI year over year for March, 2.4% versus the 2.5% estimate. That is slightly lower. USA core CPI month over month for March, 0.1% versus the 0.3% estimate. The prior read was 0.2%. Initial jobless claims, 223,000 versus the 223,000 estimate. That is right in line there. The prior read, I'm not sharing the right screen. Sorry about that. The prior read was 219,000. Core CPI year over year for March, 2.8% versus the 3% estimate. The prior read there was for 3.1%. USA CPI month over month for March, minus 1/10 versus the 1/10 gain estimate. The prior read was for 2/10 here. S&P futures ticking up slightly on the back of that news, now down 1.44% here on the morning. So there you go. CPI print coming out. Not looking all that bad. Market, at least so far, the keyword there seems to be responding to it. Thank you for the reminder. Who Bobcat DPT. Amazing. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go back to the story here real quick. Then we can actually take, while this settles, this will actually be really good timing here. While this settles, we'll be able to take a look at some of the charts of the things that you folks want to trade here. We'll try and come up with some of those levels. Okay, back to the story here. Is Donald Trump's inner circle illegally profiting off these huge swings in the stock market by insider trading? Congress must find out. Schiff wrote on X, I think Congress should investigate that after they investigate the Russia hoax. Then we'll see what's going on here. We'll see if Adam Schiff survives that. The NASDAQ climbed nearly 12%, while the S&P 500, tracked by the SPY, jumped 9.5% following Trump's surprising decision to pause country-by-country tariffs only on the countries that opted not to retaliate. Senator Warren called for an investigation into whether Trump manipulated the market to benefit his Wall Street donors. Of course, it is the same thing that we have always heard from these people. His rich friends, his rich friends, his rich friends. Good luck. Let's see if you can do that. Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management cautioned investors, saying, quote, "We're not out of the woods yet." And I think that this is a really good piece of caution because there's a lot of other details about all of this stuff that have to shake out. One of the things that we have been talking about is countries retaliating and all of that. There was news this morning that the EU is going to pause their reciprocal tariffs because Trump paused the 90 days. So there's a lot of stuff that still needs to get shaken out from this entire thing. And I would agree. I don't know that we're necessarily going to new highs here. Before all of the tariff fiasco or tariff tantrum or whatever you want to call it, one of the other things that we were outlining here on a regular basis is how overpriced some of these assets are. This doesn't change that. So I'm not sure we're totally out of the woods here. I think this is a pretty good word of caution, but I think that what yesterday showed you is that those of you that have the ability to be active, or those of you that have the patience or the fortitude to be active, you are the ones that will be rewarded. Running to the sidelines, not necessarily the best play. At least not right now. We're not out of the woods yet. It will take time and involve some negative headlines, despite Goldman Sachs scrapping its recession forecast following the tariff pause. This is really the key, and I think Gene totally understands that, and I'm not surprised. There are going to be a ton of headlines, absolute ton of headlines coming out back and forth. And I mean, just look at some of the headlines today. Tons of negativity despite the move yesterday. Be wary of that. One of the other things I think that this entire event, also going back to Monday, shows is just how receptive this market is to algos, right? You're going to get some piece of news. You're going to get some headline that comes out. The algos are going to respond faster than you possibly can. And we've got a market that is behaving crazily. So factor that into some of the other things that we've been talking about with some of the other traders, whether it's happy hour or FinTwit or other means, regardless, is if there are things that you like, throwing out a stink bid, like a kind of a very low bid that might get filled on some crazy back and forth, might not be the best, or excuse me, might not be the worst idea. I know Anne Marie kind of talks about this on a regular basis when trying to fill some of those butterflies. Put one of those good till canceled lower cost orders out there. See if you get filled on an extreme oscillation, and you might have a really good position just kind of right off the bat. So we'll see if that plays out here too. Okay. Oh, here was the other thing. And we'll see how NVIDIA actually responds to this. Jensen Huang turned the tide with a Mar-a-Lago dinner ? Trump administration reportedly backs down on the H20 chip China export restrictions. This also, you know what? I'll wait until 13 comes out. I'll let him deliver his own opinion on that. He's not here yet, is he? No, not yet. Okay, NVIDIA stock dropped 17.34% year to date, but the company has now reportedly seen a reversal of planned export restrictions on its H20 artificial intelligence chips. The Trump administration had been considering a ban on the export of NVIDIA's H20 AI chips to China, which would have been the most advanced AI processors legally available to Chinese companies. These restrictions had been in the works for months and were expected to be implemented soon. However, after NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago estate last week, the administration has reversed course, reported NPR, citing two sources with knowledge of the plan. Oh, good to see NPR actually has sources for this one. Cool. Previously, it was reported that the Chinese tech giants Tencent, Alibaba, ByteDance have ramped up their orders for NVIDIA's H20 AI chips, fueled by soaring demand for computing power, driven by the rise of DeepSeek's affordable AI models. So we'll see how this affects NVIDIA. If you guys have any thoughts on this or the larger AI cycle and how this kind of plays into it, I'm definitely interested in that. Last story that I had here was about Boeing. I'll do it really quickly. Boeing gets a boost as Vietjet secures $300 million in financing, considers 787 purchase and expands 24 billion max order. We talked a lot about Boeing here. We look at it fairly regularly. Vietjet Air has secured a $300 million financial agreement with AV Air Finance, strengthening its fleet expansion plans while potentially providing Boeing with additional business as the aircraft manufacturer works to recover from recent challenges. The deal, signed in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday in the presence of Vietnam's Deputy Prime Minister Ho Duc Phac. God, I hope I pronounced that name right. I was literally trying, like I'm not even trying to be funny at all. I'm trying to pronounce the name correctly. Comes as Boeing actively rebuilds its order pipeline following a difficult period marked by safety concerns. Boy, we covered that quite a bit. Safety concerns is almost an understatement on some of those things. We are delighted to be a long-term strategic partner of Vietjet, said Stephen Murphy, the CEO of AV Air Finance. This new commitment reflects our strong relationship and willingness to support Vietjet's resurgence in the Asia-Pacific region via new generation aircraft. Boeing did not immediately respond to our comment. Our team did reach out. We didn't hear back. My takeaway from this is that the move away from Boeing might be not as much as it was kind of floated to be. Again, we'll see how it shakes out. Easy for me to say with no position on Boeing. Boeing has recently shown signs of momentum, securing 5 major contracts in late March from global customers, including Malaysia Aviation Group, Japan Airlines, Korean Airlines, the U.S. Army, and BOC Aviation. These deals have bolstered Boeing's order book. Let me know if anyone else likes Boeing as a trade on the back of this news. Curious. Again, no position here for me. I know we talk about Boeing. I'd like to get the group's opinion on this, to be quite honest with you. So, okay, that was it for the news. Let's go back. Let's start taking a look at some of these charts. We're going to make as much sense of them as we can. Let me see if I missed anything here. I'm going to share the right screen. We're going to get back here. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, you guys, look, I'm just trying to pronounce the names. Like, I'm not even trying to be a smartass. I really am not. I was just trying to pronounce the names there. Okay. First Solar. Thank you. So there you go. First Solar. That's another one. We just looked at that yesterday, I feel like. Okay. Yeah, wins. Insider trading, question mark, more like outsider trading. Trump gave everyone an opportunity, not just his inner circle, to do with the Dems around. Ooh, the last part there. I'm in complete agreement with this, at least the beginning part here. He told everybody. And it's fitting. It's fitting that the folks that are complaining are the ones that didn't listen. Color me shocked on that one, right? With you on that. Let's see. Was there anything else ticker wise? You guys, nope. CPI, that was a great call. Okay. I don't see many tickers in here, so I don't think I'm missing them. Now, here they come. GMI, Amazon. Oh, you meant KMI for Kinder Morgan. Okay. We can do that. And I'll go ahead and add those as I see them here. Good stuff. Ed, you're not going to get me to say that. Okay, let's start here with First Solar. We actually, didn't we take a look at this yesterday? Was it the day before? I feel like First Solar here was a recent one. I don't think anything has changed since the last time that we talked about it. I beg your pardon. We're still sitting here on the support. It won't give it up yet. It looked like it wanted to, but it's held in here. Now, if we back out, you can see that we are definitely huge move down here from highs. We're actually not at oversold territory yet, so I don't really think there's any rush to buy this stock. You could probably wait this one out. As we've discussed with solar ad nauseum, frankly, a lot of this is going to be dependent on rates. So when the market sniffs out that interest rates are actually close to being on their way down, I suspect we'll be able to see that in some of the solar names, whether it be First Solar or something even like an ETF like TAN. The good news here is that the longer it hangs out around this support level, the better off it is. I don't know when we're getting the interest to the point of my question earlier, asking you folks. I don't know when we're going to get the first series or the first interest rate cut or the first series of interest rate cuts. I don't know when that's going to happen. So I wouldn't actually be shocked if this tested some of the other areas here, but we look like we're in a pretty good area here. 125, we're currently at 129.5. 125 actually looks like an area it might bounce from. I think you're probably okay down to like 110. Looking here, going all the way back to about the beginning of 2021, our volume point of control here is at 85. I'm not even sure we get down there and print 85, to be quite honest with you. Let me know what you folks think on this. And here's the other thing. We've already death crossed. We death crossed back in November, right? So this move down here, it's probably going to be exhausted pretty soon if it isn't already. And so what I would be looking for here is that maybe oh shoot. That is not what I wanted to do. What I'd be looking for here is maybe like a confirmed reversal. Maybe if we can actually trade up above that 50-day moving average, close above it a few times, maybe then we could actually show some upside momentum here on First Solar. There wasn't anything here upgrade-wise today. No, 2 days ago, though, we did get a buy rating maintained by Bank of America, that price target at 215. Just looking at some of the recent price targets here, and when I say recent, I'm basically just meaning like the past couple of months here in 2025, 215, 253, 243, 236, 304, 238, 285. Boy, oh boy, stocks down here at $127. So analysts here telling you that within the next 12 to 18 months, they see in some cases almost a double on this stock. So pretty interesting spot here for First Solar. Again, I think a lot of this is going to be rate dependent. So that's something to kind of keep your eyes out for on this. First Solar looks very weak and may go down more. Indeed. The question is, where does it bottom? And I just gave you some of those spots there. I wonder if it's somewhere in the 110s to 120. This gives you an idea of what that upside angle is. All right. Good stuff there on First Solar. Let's see, you guys were giving me some more here. PJ said, GM, I don't know if you meant General Motors or good morning. So I'm just going to say good morning, and I'm going to add GM to the list here. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. WHLR, I think that's on the movers list. So we can do that when we go through some of the movers. And I think soon is also on that. Okay. Yep, those were on the gainers. Thank you, producer. Okay, let's go ahead now. We'll take a look at Amazon next, ticker AMZN. I hope Izzy's okay. Izzy from our community, I hope he's okay here. What a day this must have been yesterday on Amazon. Had a nice little kind of a move up out of the gate yesterday. This was one of those names, though, just huge rip on that news. Amazon, we had talked about, hey, do you have any stocks that are on your list in case the market really gets beat up and things really trade down? Amazon is definitely one of those. Great to see this have a great day yesterday. Here's what it looks like on the daily chart. We're pretty much right back towards the volume point of control. This goes back to about middle of the year last year. The daily chart is putting in a really clean, crispy bounce on volume right off that 500-day. We're actually kind of in no man's land here on RSI. Unless this stock really breaks down, I really think that you're going to get a challenge here at 200 pretty soon. We're currently at 185, stocks down almost 3% here in the pre-market. I wouldn't be surprised if we take out this 187. Your 20-day moving average right there is 190, 140. I would not be shocked at all if Amazon here starts to challenge that 200-day. If you're trading that, I definitely think that's a take profit level or a partial take profit level. But I do kind of think Amazon's going to retest 200 on that. I would not be terribly surprised at all. Okay. Before we get to our next stocks here, let's go ahead and bring on 13, see how he's doing. 13, good morning, my man. Happy Masters Day to you. LOL. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody else this morning? Have a good day yesterday? It was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun. You first posted that news about the export controls on NVIDIA being lifted. I literally laughed out loud.
So I wanted to summarize for you, but then I was like, you know what, Ryan? No, wait for 13 to get here. So here's the story that we were just talking about. This is the export control story. Why don't you tell the group what you think about this? You had a really good take on this. Why don't you explain that to the group?
My take on what I was thinking when we got this news. Let me go back and see what I put.
And then if you want, what it also means for the chart or what it means for NVIDIA going forward here.
I don't remember if I said all that, but let me just go back to what my comments were because, I don't remember what I was talking about here. Let's see. Give me one tick while I find that. Okay, so, that was for the Nintendo Switch 2 delay. Trump backs off on chip H20 or backs off on chip H20 crackdown. My thought was, who needs export controls when you have the country you're trying to affect imposes massive tariffs on your products? So I thought this was pretty interesting, and I'm sure this is, you can have your own opinion on whether or not you think this is what actually went down. But the way I was seeing it is, China makes the big move on raising tariffs an additional 84%. Trump smiles, says, be cool, get ready to buy, and then lifts the chip crackdown on NVIDIA so the market can rally. A lot of the market's downside is, because of the Mag 7 and most importantly, NVIDIA. But now China is going to be paying for more of these chips because the tariffs they imposed on U.S. products. And, you can say that there's ways of getting around these tariffs, and I do agree to a certain extent. But this is just kind of, I was kind of thinking to myself, wow, Trump kind of played China here. And they, and then they go on to, Trump's kind of go on to say, they may have goaded China into, raising or getting too ahead of themselves and then and goading them into a bad situation. And here we are. And now Trump's also having raised China tariffs on up to 125%. So I feel like this really just, you market manipulation notwithstanding, which I still think that's what was happening. I think it was a situation where China just got absolutely played. I don't know how else to say it. I think they got played in this particular instance.
Yeah, now,
this is just one battle out of the entire war, though. So just understand.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Besson basically saying the same thing, And again, credit to our group. Because we have a guy that is very in tune, I guess you could say, with how things go in China. Just the way things work over there. And it sure looks like this was calculated. It sure looks like if you have an understanding of how things work over there, this was calculated, and it just, we'll see how it all shakes out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it all shakes out, but really good stuff here. Okay, was there any other chart? Do you want to do movers? Do you want to do charts? I have I think two stocks here that folks wanted to look at, and one of them's Apple, which we always look at. So if you want to knock these movers out first, I think we can do that.
Sure, we can do the movers. Yeah, let's get the movers out of the way. There's four I looked a little closer at. I heard one of them earlier, Wheeler. There you go.
We'll start with it then, because we've talked about Wheeler a whole bunch here. We should all understand how this thing moves.
Yeah, and didn't see any news on why it's moving today. And I think it may have something to do with the Form 8 they filed on Tuesday. In there, you'll find that there was information about redemptions. So I feel like that may have helped lift it today if that wasn't noticed until now. But other than that, I don't know the exact reason why this is moving up. But we're also coming in now after we hit a high of 665. So this move may be over for now. Let me look at my broker's chart, because this may come back later. But for now, with this 587,000 share float, we are coming back to almost to where we were in the after hours after we popped a little bit. So we had this after hours move, and then we just shot up in the pre-market right when we opened at 4 a.m., got as high as 665, and now we're back down to the 200 EMA, pretty extended away from VWAP. So I would think that there may be an attempt to kind of narrow the distance between VWAP and here. But I wouldn't also be surprised if we ended up just going right back down to where that consolidation is going into the close of the after hours market.
Yeah, good stuff there. And we shouldn't be surprised at any of these dramatic moves that we see here on Wheeler. It's not the first time, and it's probably not going to be the last time too. Was looking at the short interest here while you were mentioning all that stuff. 2.41% of the float shorted. This is down massively from the prior read there, which was 15.78. Now, was that because of the float changing? Did we have a reverse split here? That might have been float that I have here, 587,000. So just kind of micro. Let me check those splits.
It could have been the redemptions.
Yeah, we also had a 1-for-4 reverse on January 27th. So
we've traded it since then, though.
Yeah, did we? Okay.
If there's a change in the share structure, I'm pretty sure it has to do with the redemptions.
On the redemptions. Okay. Good stuff there. Wheeler Real Estate. Almost a complete round trip here today on that one. Next one on the list here, KTTA. This one having a little bit different of a story here this morning. Pasithea, I think. Pasithea Therapeutics shares are trading higher after a safety review committee recommended escalating to the next dose level of a 30 milligram capsule that capsule in its ongoing phase 1 trial of PAS-004 for advanced cancer. These cancer data, PRs, headlines, these always get movement. We're seeing that again here today. Stock's up just about 91% up here at 208. Looks like it found some resistance there at 220. And the second impulse move started from a 160 level here. Short interest, 0.75% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. And you float here of 2.48 million. What do you got on this one, KTTA? I know we've traded this one before as well.
We have. This is the one. No, this is not the one. But this one we have traded before. This is actually the one that's ongoing with the PAS-004. I remember that particular name for the drug that they're going through right now with their phase 1 trial. They actually have 2 phase 1 trials going on right now. This particular one, I'm not exactly which one this is supposed to measure. There's, like I said, there's 2 different ones. They are, and this is the news that we're seeing here, is that the safety review committee is recommending that they escalate the dosage. So that's a positive sign. But the thing is that this is still phase 1, and they only have about 2 quarters of cash. So there's going to be a capital raise coming here with this company at some point. I just can't say exactly when, but you've got to keep an eye out for the, when they file for a prospectus to issue more shares. That's going to be something to watch for. I don't know if we're going to see that before they wrap up phase 1 of both phase 1 clinical trials, but just understand that in 2 quarters they are going to really need they're going to have to come up with some way, if not before then, to continue ongoing with their clinical trials.
Okay, really good stuff there. KTTA. Next one I have here is PRFX. This is pain reform. This is another one that we've traded multiple times.
Yes.
This thing's been wild already here today. Peaking at 360, coming all the way back in here to 220. Good loud. All right, pain reform. We do have a PR here this morning. Pain reform expands into home energy management sector, leveraging Deep Solar's AI-driven platform to address the growing solar optimization market.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on here, 13?
This was the weird one that I was thinking was the last one we were just talking about. This is the weird one where it's a clinical stage company, but it's now moving into clean energy. I think we also thought that was weird when we read.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So we still think it's weird. This is not moving on the news that they are acquiring Deep Solar. This is on the news that they are expanding into the home energy management sector with Deep Solar's leveraging their AI platform. The company has 860,000 shares in the float, so very easy to move around. But they do have a $4 million share offering on the table that hasn't, as far as I can tell, been executed yet. So the company does need cash. That could happen as early as today, but I don't know when exactly they're going to put that offering out. So just keep that in mind if you're going to trade this today. That company does need cash. They do have a filing for offering to sell $4 million worth of shares. Just can't say exactly when they're going to execute that, but just something to keep in mind when you trade this.
Okay, there you go. PRFX. Here we go. One from yesterday. I don't even know how much we need to break this down.
We don't.
Get back. ICCT is back here today. Actually did intraday use that 342 level as kind of a downside level. Didn't actually print it, but we curled back up off of it. It looks like it's peaking here today. This absolutely puts yesterday's intraday highs in play here today. We'll see if we end up getting that. Did we have any other news on this one? Nope, just kind of trading action here. Just again, as a reminder, 2.1% of the float traded with 1 day to cover. What do you got?
The price action I made a point about yesterday with this one, it would pop in the morning and then it would tend to sell off throughout the rest of the day. We didn't get so much that price action yesterday. We did have a pop in the morning and then it did come back down, but then we rallied into the afternoon on 2 occasions before we ended up going sideways. That could be an indication that we're having a change in the way this trades. Maybe that we found some kind of a bottom. It certainly looks like that could be the case, at least in the short term. But the point about the highs that you were making yesterday, which was 535, that's certainly going to be a level to watch for this morning. The highest we got in the pre-market today was $5, so not too far away from that 535 level. And it certainly looks like if we can hang out above this this VWAP a little bit longer, we may even be able to push up higher if we can see that volume increase. So I would absolutely be keeping that 535 level on my radar, as well as $5. And then every other level going back to looking to the left, that where the price ran up to and then reversed. Those are all going to be levels to watch for as well if this continues beyond 535.
I mean, I'm just kind of looking at this like 6, 7, 8. Like
it can be that easy. It can be that easy.
And I mean, like, I hate to have simplistic analysis, but gosh, that's what the chart's saying. So,
but just remember what we talked about with this one. We were looking for $7. We did get that. It hasn't really been back up there since. It doesn't mean we couldn't see an attempt to get back up there, and it may even hit it again. But just remember, we already had this whole trade idea with or this plan with going to 7, and then that was going to be it. Let's look at the chart. That worked out so well.
Yeah, it did.
So let's remember that as well. Let's not get ourselves caught in some of these names, especially with the current market atmosphere.
Good idea. All right, next one here is going to be Hydro Farm Holdings. Ticker HYFM, Hydro Farm Holdings. This stock popped in the after hours yesterday, again in the pre-market today, but is rolling right now. Has actually retraced about 50% of the move. We'll see if it has enough juice to move all the way back down to where it started. It's doing this on no news, so it's still up. What? It is? There is news? Did I miss something?
No, there's not, but I have a suspicion.
Okay. All right. I had no idea you were going to do that. Anyway, 2.21% of the float shorted with 2.58 days to cover, but that days to cover comes on extremely low average volume of 24,000 shares. We've already traded 8 million, so that's not going to be a problem here today. Float's 4.4 million. All right, 13. What's the big secret? What do you got?
Hydrofarm Holdings Group Incorporated is a distributor and manufacturer of agricultural equipment and supplies. Some of its products includes lighting solutions, growing media. These are basically like hydroponics almost. But I'm wondering and thinking, with all the talk of a farm bill coming, that we might see some of these names start to move.
Interesting.
This doesn't have a really big move on its under its belt right here. This is like 17% move, but as soon as I start seeing these, like App Harvest and remember that name, and some of these other vertical or farm or indoor farming companies, I start to think it's just a matter of connecting the dots. You have the farm bill that's getting talked a lot about. You're starting to see these names move. I'm wondering if there's something going on there. I haven't looked into that, but it's just a matter of connecting the dots. We've got legislation pending or being talked about. We have these names starting to get a lift. I don't think it's a coincidence.
And this particular name, if we go back to the daily, this particular name has been under pressure. I mean, look at this. Look at this daily chart. This thing really fell out from this 6 handle here. Now, its operating segments are in the U.S. and Canada, so maybe the tariff tantrum played a role into that. But look at the extreme discount you're getting here. So a little bit of a 20%, 19.1% pop back here today. Excuse me.
And I still like that one idea with the drought-resistant seeds, Bioceres. That got a little bit of a lift this morning.
That's so there's the thing, right? Bioceres.
Yeah, look, that's up 12%. See, this is kind of what I'm talking about here. Yep. There's something happening with this proposed farm bill or this discussion about it. I think some of these names are going to get a good lift off the heels of it. I'm not sure, but I think it is.
Bioceres, another gem from the happy hour group there. So another researched ticker here that we're looking into. Okay, really good stuff there. Really good stuff there on that. Last one that I had here on the list is going to be ELAB. I don't know why. There we go. ELAB, ELAB. We've traded this one a whole bunch of times here on the show. PMGC Holdings. I don't know how they get ELAB as the ticker out of that, but whatever. PMGC Holding shares are trading higher after the company's subsidiary entered a development and license agreement for Yuva Biosciences to discover and develop new pharmaceutical treatments for obesity, type 2 diabetes, and other cardiometabolic conditions. You get a nice little PR there. Stock's ripping here, up 15.8%. It is notable here, 13.64% of the float shorted, but only on 1 day to cover. And that 1 day to cover is on an average volume of 400,000 shares. Today, we've already traded 6 million. Market's not even opening yet. So maybe a little bit of squeeze potential, but probably not a multi-day squeeze. The bigger story here, float, 573,000 shares in the float. Another micro name that might end up moving here. What do you got on ELAB?
I didn't cover this one. It looks like it has a very low float and it's easy to move. So a little piece of news can certainly do this. But kind of wondering, are these obesity and diabetes clinical companies? Are they kind of just moving towards something that's never going to materialize with the GLP-1s kind of helping along with it? Because that was my understanding, is that GLP-1s are helping people that have obesity and diabetes, and I've heard rumors about diabetes fading off, or I don't know how it works, but them being in quotes cured of their diabetes with GLP-1s. But I don't know how much of that is true, and I don't know how much of this company is going to prevail with GLP-1s or weight loss drugs like that. So I guess I have more questions than answers when it comes to ELAB.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't provide anything better.
It's okay. The whole diabetes weight loss thing, I know we've talked a lot about the GLP-1s and all of that, and that's a good angle. There's going to be more, in my opinion, on this stuff coming out. One of the things that I'm getting from like some of these podcasts that I listen to, they're starting to think that there is a connection with diabetes and Alzheimer's. And if that ends up being the case, you're going to see a lot of these. We see cohorts of companies that deal with diabetes treatment. And then we also see a cohort that deals with Alzheimer's. And I think that these might end up blending here at some point. And there's going to be opportunity in some of these names. I can't tell you when, and I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen there. I'm not a scientific researcher nor a doctor. So I'm basically just processing information that I'm getting. But it does sound like there might be a connection down the road. We'll see. We will see on that. Okay, that's all of the movers that we got here. We can go back. We can do ticker time now.
Sure.
We can do ticker time now. Anything that catches your eye. The only stocks that I have on the list here that we have not covered, Apple, JPM, and GM. And the person that said GM might have been saying good morning. So I'm not even sure that they wanted to see that ticker. Where do you want to start, 13?
Oh, wait, really? Makes no difference. We can start with the big names if you want and go to whatever tickers start coming up in the chat.
All right, we're going to start then with Apple because that did come from the chat. Now, here's the thing. So Apple absolutely participated yesterday, but the one thing to keep in mind here on Apple is that one of the other things that we saw here, I know I was reading some of the quotes earlier. You take it whichever way you want to take it. That's fine. But one of the things that yesterday clearly showed is that this is predominantly about China. And Apple, that's important for Apple because Apple has a lot. They sell a lot to China and they produce a lot in China. And so this stock is still going to, despite what happened yesterday, this stock, there's still some unknowns and some uncertainty here. And this stock is absolutely going to respond to some of that. Stock here down 4% here in the pre-market, almost double what the S&P is down. So just a word of warning here on Apple, but it did have a pretty substantial bounce back. Where I left you with yesterday is that the area that I really am interested in Apple is this 155 to 165 area. Shout out Bernhard. I know you were here yesterday and you've been on the happy hour. We've been talking about this. This is the area that I'm looking to add. Because this is especially easy for me because I have a long-term position in Apple. It allows me to be even more patient. I'm basically going to wait this out. If I miss this, that's fine. We'll reassess if we get up near the highs. I'm not sure that's the case. I think there's a lot of uncertainty still in this name. We bounced back. We basically got rejected right at the 500-day moving average, and we retraced some of that stick. We're sitting right here about at the top end of the range that we traded in 2023. You have anything here on Apple that you like?
165 was the buy area for, I think, both you and I last April when it was down at that price. So definitely not going to, say no, it can't get down there. It certainly, absolutely, 100% can. Matter of fact, I think it could end up going lower. I think it's going to this out of all the Mag 7s, maybe this one and probably even Tesla have the most risk right now. And
I would agree with you.
I don't like either one of them right now. It's encouraging that Apple is looking to move a lot of their operations over to India. I think that's going to be great, but how long that takes, how much of their equipment they can get out of China, or what if China just retaliates and just starts investigating Apple and claiming, oh well, they did this and that, so we're seizing XYZ assets. That's a lot of risk to be taking right now in Apple. I'd really like to see some clarity on getting past that before I jump back in.
Okay. I'm basically just looking at the chart here. I do like this in this area. I will try it and I will update you as I do that. Okay.
We just death crossed earlier this month. I think that's not going to be short lived. I think it could end up persisting for a little while.
Yeah, so the area that I'm looking to add this here, 155 to 165, current price 190. If the death cross causes that to move down that much, I'm a buyer, just to be clear.
Okay.
I'm a buyer. All right, next here is going to be JPM. We'll take a look at JPM. Interestingly enough, I was just kind of going through some of the tweets yesterday. JPM, one of the guys that I've been following for a long time, mentioned that JPM is one of his favorite dividend reinvestment strategy stocks. I thought about that and I was like, gosh, maybe I should have added JPM on the huge dip. I never did. And I think that might be one of my big misses here, but we'll see. We'll see. This chart here yesterday, the huge bounce back. We recaptured the 200-day. We got straight up rejected at the 20-day. We're actually beneath the 200-day today. I want to see if it closes above that here today. It looks like financials down a little bit here in the pre-market, along with the rest of the market. We'll see if we can actually get back above that level. I want to see, to me, with JPM here, I want to see it close above 231.5. If we get that here, maybe we do start moving towards some of these highs. Volume point of control right here at 241. 13, what do you have on JPM, if anything?
I see a head and shoulders.
So I think what you see is right in here.
Sure. Back it out a bit. You see it better.
Here and then here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even draw the neckline there. Just put a line at 230. Call that the neckline there. There you go.
Boom.
So with this, since from this neckline, it's essentially about an 18% move from basically the neckline all the way up to the top of the head. I'd be looking for the same to the downside from the neckline. So that puts it about somewhere. Hold on a second. That puts it about somewhere around like 190, 188, somewhere around there. So that's kind of where I would be looking at. It's about the 500-day SMA. That's where I think we're going to probably see the best support come in if we cannot recapture this 200-day SMA. I think we are going to end up going down a little bit more, but I'd be looking at that 500-day SMA for support.
Okay. We'll see if we end up rolling back and going towards that level there. JPM, I'd love to add this lower. If we get down to that 500-day 13, I think this would be a long-term add for me, JPM. Do have earnings tomorrow here on JPM, and the head and shoulders not complete yet, according to Jay. He's going to fight you on that a little bit. Jay's saucy today with the master starting. Just letting you know.
But what part isn't complete? We have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and we've already started to resolve to the downside. I mean, we're back testing the neckline. The only thing that has left to resolve, in my opinion, is just one more downside move off of the retest of the neckline, and that's essentially a fully resolved head and shoulders. I mean, what else are you looking for there, Jay?
Let me know. Okay. All right. Next one here, we did JPM. Next one here was TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor. Another really important stock here, having a wild move here. Taiwan Semiconductor down only 1.24% here after its 12.3% gain yesterday. This comes off a gigantic bounce off of the 500-day moving average. That value was down here at 140.69. We're actually beneath another possible gap. That gap actually, let me get the exact value here. We're looking for the top end of this candle here. High is 161.80, and you have a potential gap fill up to 167-ish. We also have the 20-day moving average there at 166.60. So you have a potential gap fill here if we're able to take out that candle on TSM. We do RSI is right in the middle of the range here. You got anything on TSM 13 that you like?
That 134 level has been support on two different occasions now in the past year. Once on when we had the end carry trade unwind.
Gotcha. I'm going to mark that off. You're right.
And then just recently on April 7th. So we've kind of bounced, and it's not exact. I mean, it didn't hit exactly 134 on the rebound. It's, there's some play in there, but that's kind of like the rounded up level. We also have death crossed. So I would expect that even if we do move up, we may see some resistance around the 20-day SMA, maybe even the 50. But I think that we could end up seeing more downside. And that 134 level is going to be one to watch if we do end up getting down there. I think multiple tests of that level will result in a breakdown. How far down we go, can't say exactly for sure. But given the geopolitical risks with this company being where it is and the trade tensions that we're experiencing, I think that there's a potential for some pretty good downside if certain things were to happen that we're hoping doesn't. If that does, I start to look at under 100.
Okay.
The next really good support that I see is going to be about 107 if we continue to lose altitude from the 500-day SMA.
Does that pretty much correspond to these peaks back in 2013? Also a gap in here.
2013. Oh, you mean 2023?
2023. Sorry, man.
No, it's 2023. And if you kind of like draw a line at that level too, you can see that was also support back in 2021 as the price kind of consolidated up there.
Yep.
Tried to so Yeah, that 107, 108 area, pretty
Mm-hmm.
important support resistance area.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff. Gaslit Circus Clown. Might be my favorite YouTube handle in the entire universe. Frankly, that is awesome. Why are the Masters jackets so damn green? Jay, Wiss, I'll let you guys handle this one. let the Gaslit Circus Clown know why the Masters jackets are that green. I want to say green for the market, but I don't want to jinx anything. Okay, next one on
because they want to match the course that they beat.
Next one on the list here is going to be Dollar General. This has been, I think, up until yesterday, this is probably the best trade of the year so far here. Dollar General. And what's great about this is now that we're coming back in from that 200-day moving average slightly, I know we're kind of settling here on the 20-day. We actually might get another chance to reload this puppy, and that would be sweet. If we back out a little bit more, you can see kind of what we're waiting for here. Now what we've done is we've almost made another attempt and rejection here at this potential gap fill. This gap fill, 97.5 all the way up to 120-ish or thereabouts. I mean, just a huge move here if we can actually get this trade underway. Taking a look, going back to 2024, volume point of control in here in the low 80s. That's been the best ad for this. I think we talked about this was in a 70 handle when we end up taking that trade. But these low 80s look pretty good. Dollar General here so far is rolling back over. I would be interested if this came back in towards that 50-day moving average. Again, that value there, 79.28. I'm not sure we actually get another 70 handle, but a low 80s handle here, I actually might take another stab at this one. Dollar General, what do you have here, 13?
So if you would do a favor for me and draw a trend line, starting from March 14th last year, going through the high of April 4th last year, and just continue that.
March 14th last year, that's right here. And this is the April high, yep. There we go. I know I was kind of eyeballing it there. I might be off a little.
It's all right. The point is that this trend line, you can extend it in both directions and see that this has just been the major trend we've been in for years, going back to 22. And it looks like we're trying to test this again. Like we just got a test of it on I think that was Friday. Yes, that was Friday when we tested this trend line. That was after a break over the 20-day SMA. We've since come down. This is part of this is pretty much what I was saying could happen, especially since Dollar General on Friday had gotten to be pretty extended. It was printing over 70 RSI when it got to its highs. So it since came in that day, and it has come down over the past few days. We have 3 down days now. We're getting support from the 20-day SMA and that's the $85 area, which was a resistance level when we were trying to break out, going back as far as November last year. 3 attempts. First was on November 4th. Second was on December 6th. Third was on March 10th. And then finally on March 26th and 27th, we finally broke over that. Now that $85 level is going to be support. And the 20-day SMA is also support. The big resistance area right now for me is going to be the 200-day SMA. We have cooled off the RSI a bit. It's now in the 50s, the low 50s. So this sets up really nicely for buyers to start stepping in and try to take this up back over the 200-day SMA and through that trend line. So might take a number of days. Probably won't see it this week, but this is a long-term hold for me. I still think that this goes up into the hundreds. At some point this year, probably in the next month or so.
Yep, I'm with you on that. Remember, this one a little bit more insulated from the China fiasco than Dollar Tree. That makes this a little bit more appealing. Yep. Okay, couple of things here real quick. We will get to Netflix next. In fact,
sorry, VLAB is ripping. It's just pushed up through its VWAP.
Oh, this is one of the movers that's going here in the pre-market. Got it.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to, it's had on my screen. Good. I thought I may as well just shout it out.
And you know what else, 13, is that if we do what we customarily do here, now we have a target. We have a target from the trend line. Okay, good stuff there. Let me put Netflix back on the screen. Let me clear off a couple more of these questions here. First one here is going to be Sean. Sean, good morning. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us here. Ryan, did you say your Masters picks yet? Who do you got? I did not. Nobody asked yet. And I got them in two tiers here. Who do I like to actually win here? I like Scotty or Rory. Call me a fair weather fan. Call me whatever you want. I like Scotty or Rory. If you're looking for more of like a potential bet that has better odds that might still have a chance at this, I'm thinking guys like Minwoo Lee, who's been hot recently, Shane Lowry, who always plays this tournament well, Colin Morikawa, who always play. In fact, I don't think Morikawa's actually missed a cut in this tournament in his career. He's had trouble closing earlier this year. I would imagine he'd be motivated. And then probably Patrick Cantlay. So if you want some bets there, I would say Minwoo Lee, Lowry, Cantlay, maybe Colin Morikawa. As far as who I actually like, give me Scotty and Rory all day, every day. Okay. And then Jay Wiss, let me know what your picks are. Sean, who do you have? Who do you like here this weekend? Okay, Netflix. Let's get back down to brass tacks here. Here is Netflix. Whoa. What do we have here? Do we honestly have a possible Head and Shoulders forming here on Netflix? We'll see. Netflix here up 8.62% yesterday, down a paltry 1.98% here today, and still holding strongly above that 20-day moving average. Next spot here in terms of next level, this is pretty easy for me. I actually think we're going to trade higher here on Netflix. This does not have as much of the worry about the tariff stuff there. I've got the 20-day moving average I've got here at 935. I think we probably end up taking that out if this has any strength here today. 962.86, let's call it 963. I'd love to see it close above the 50-day. Maybe we don't get that today. Maybe we get it tomorrow. This is kind of what I'd be looking at here on Netflix, unless this Head and Shoulders really sinks us. I don't know though. How do you look at this?
It was really looking like this was going to have a resolution of the Head and Shoulders. It was making its way down to the 200-day SMA, but that price action, I guess we'll just call it, yesterday really lifted this back up and may threaten to invalidate the Head and Shoulders. It just depends on certain levels are breached. One of them is going to be 1,000. That's if we get up to and close over 1,000, I'd say, well, we're probably not going to see this Head and Shoulders resolution anymore. That would be what I'd be expecting here. But let's just see what happens with this. We could end up chopping around a lot. May even come back down in under 900 again. But to your point about the moving averages, if we can recapture and hold above the 20-day SMA, it's likely we may end up going on to move over the 50-day SMA as well. There is a bit of a resistance area just around 1,000 at the same time from the highs it was putting in recently in March and toward the beginning of the year as well. So I would be looking at $1,000 as the big resistance area above the 20 and 50-day SMAs.
Okay. Good stuff there. I'll tell you what, I put it's very hard, given what I've seen out of Netflix and given that we have some really sharp folks in the Benzinga community that trade this thing regularly. It's like I'm trying to be as like middle of the road as I can. And it's very hard for me to be bearish on Netflix. It just is. Like I want to be down the middle, but I always feel like I'm bullish on this stock. I always feel like this stock is going to trade higher here. And so really good stuff there with your breakdown. I'm leaving the Head and Shoulders on here, if for nothing else, to just remind me, like, Ryan, look at the damn chart. Like, look at the chart. So we'll see if we end up getting some down move from this.
And Netflix has no exposure to China. So,
exactly.
Yeah. So I just had to make that statement. There's zero exposure to China. They don't operate there. It's these tariffs on the mainland is not going to affect.
Not going to matter at all.
Yeah.
Not going to matter at all. Okay. Bruce, Mystery Man. Hello.
Hey.
Long time no see. Happy to have you back. Hope all is well in your corner of the world, Mystery Man. Welcome back. We're still kicking over here and rolling strong. Great to have you back. Also, really good stuff here. Love it. Love all of the picks here. Love all of the Masters talk. Actually, it would be kind of cool to see Aberg win it. He's pretty good. He's pretty awesome. Oh, and let me tell you something. If you guys want a timeline cleanse, you want something that just kind of make you smile, that is completely unrelated from the chaos that's going on in global politics in the market, go Google a clip of Poppy McElroy yesterday making that putt with the family. I am normally not a sucker for family stuff like that, but hot damn, that was awesome yesterday. Good stuff here, STFU. Poppy McElroy also might be one of the better names that I've ever heard in my life. That's pretty sweet too. Okay. Netflix rounds out the names of all of the stocks that people had asked about, at least the ones that I caught and threw on my list here. Rustam, it's a day where the world isn't over and the sun's up. That means Rustam wants to take a look at NEO. So that's what we'll do here. NEO did bounce off the bottom here, up about 5.5% yesterday. We are actually stronger here by 9 cents in the pre-market. As far as levels here, I really don't have one. My next level here for support, frankly, is 0. I don't really care much for the NEO product. I don't really think this is going to be huge and successful, and I'm not going to trade this one. It is a bit oversold on the Williams percent hour, and we are approaching oversold territory here on RSI 13. Do you have anything more constructive for Rustam here on NEO?
$4 looks like that was a pretty important support area for much of the third quarter in 2024. Going into this year before it lost that level last month. Going to need to see a recapture of that, but the lows are going to be the first obstacle. That's going to be about 360 that you're going to start to see that resistance. Those are going to be from lows back in April last year. That would be the first big area of resistance on its way back up. Now, I think he was asking also about, how does this move off of some news? And I don't know how big this news is going to be. There's a restructuring with Onvo. They're naming a new Fei Shen as a head of brand. I thought I saw somewhere that there was an offering on the table, and that BYD, the big battery maker, was going to be taking a stake in this company. I don't know how true all those things are, but if BYD does end up taking a stake in NEO, I think that could end up taking this back over 4 pretty easily.
Okay. Really good stuff there on NEO. The other thing that's worth mentioning here, Mizuho maintaining a neutral but lowering the price target from 420. I almost wonder if that was a wink 420 or not. But they lowered the price target from 420 to 350 here on NEO. NEO's actually up 2.4% here in the pre-market. XIII here saying good morning and good luck. XIII, you are now being dubbed the show Edward R. Murrow. You are the Edward R. Murrow of the show here. Instead of good night and good luck, of course, it will be good morning and good luck. It's great to see you here, XIII. Hope you have a great day here today. Okay. Quantum Vortex is asking for thoughts on Microsoft. Do you have any new thoughts on Microsoft? I know that this is one that you trade a lot. I mean, I know we can kind of analyze the action that happened yesterday, but just wondering if you have a thought on Microsoft that might be a little bit different here.
Nothing's really changed for me with Microsoft. I still like this long term. I think it's going to end up. We're having a correction now. I said last year, or maybe even earlier this year, I think this could end up going to 500. So we'll see if that ends up happening. I do like this one. If you draw a horizontal line where the lows were just recently on April 7th and look to the left, you can see that was actually a pretty good support area going back to 2021 November, and also the highs from June in 2023. So good support there, but I won't say that we couldn't. We won't head lower. We certainly could. And if we do, I would think that the stronger support may come down around the low 300s if we end up trading down that far. Don't know exactly if we're going to get rejected and continue to trade lower after testing this 50-day SMA. But seeing that price action there and how we couldn't recapture it, that's going to be one thing to watch for here. Is a recapture of that 50-day SMA and getting support from the 20. Okay, look at ELAB go now. This has been pretty good this morning.
Here, let me just bring up the main. Let me stop goofing around here. Bring up the main window. We'll pull up ELAB. We'll get ready here. Oh shoot, Ed, I'm sorry, dude. You're right. I totally screwed it up. Before we do that, we got 2 minutes. KMI. Ed, you asked nicely. You didn't spam. You didn't use all caps, and I screwed up. And I'm sorry about that. Here you go. Here's Kinder Morgan. This was a nice bounce off the 200-day. I can't remember if Tim Melvin likes this one. I don't want to speak for him. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, Kinder Morgan here. Nice bounce. We're actually just shy of that 50-day. And I know it's hard to see here with all of these moving averages in here, but if we snap that 50-day, which really lines up nicely with the top end of this candle, possible gap fill up here. I don't know. It's about 50 cents. We'll see here on Kinder Morgan. I kind of like I like that it's bounced off this chart. I'd really like to see it reclaim one of these levels before I like it a little bit longer. RSI is kind of in no man's land here. Nice to see the volume increasing as well. Do we have any recent news on this? Earnings in 6 days.
2550 is a horizontal line I put on there. This thing is kind of forming a bit of a bearish pattern up here. It looks like head and shoulders. We did recapture that 2550 level, but I think that's going to be the neckline if we are going to turn back down here. That's going to be a level to watch for 2550.
Okay, and this did get lowered, or the price target, excuse me, got adjusted to 25 at Scotiabank. Just looking at some of the recent price targets here: 29, 27, 31, 28, 38. So we're pretty much right in that area right now.
Yeah, 15 seconds, or actually now it's 10. We're about to open, folks, and good luck. Let's pull up some of these names we're looking at. Here we are. We're open. What you gonna do, eLab? Looks like it's trying to push up to that 563 high that we put in earlier this morning.
Okay.
See what we can do there. Wheeler, after sinking all morning, after hitting 665, not doing a whole lot out of the gate, but just keep an eye on it. We could see it turn up. Let's see, what are some of the other ones we were looking at this morning? I saw that Reshape Life Sciences is also up there. KTTA, that's the other one.
Yep, KTTA. I had that on screen here. Here's RSLS. eLab seems to be the ripper here, although that's come back into the VWAP. We can't take out that 550 yet. That'd be one to watch. Big B's, you were asking earlier if we took a look at pain reform. We did. I think we're kind of waiting for the 350 upside level. It's doing a really good job holding its VWAP so far. Volume actually looks pretty good here too, at least out of the start here on pain reform.
KTTA dropping through VWAP out of the gate here, probably coming down to that 160 area where we were topping out at before we had this next impulse move up.
Crow looks like he's taking NMAX and JNVR. They're not doing anything yet. Crow looks like you're trying to get ahead of the game. You think these both pop here today? Think these pop here today?
Those were some of the movers from earlier. Like earlier this week and last week? Looks like DJT was moving up, but now it's sinking out of the open here. As is American Rebel. That was also looking like it would have been a good one. I haven't seen so many good moves here so far today.
Not yet.
Nope, not yet.
Not yet.
May just be selling out of the gate, and then the buying starts happening. Look at KTTA, eLab, and Wheeler. They all sold, and now they're trying to come back up here. So we'll see which ones are successful and which ones aren't.
Okay.
My pain reform was yesterday's bounce.
That makes a lot of sense. Hopefully the fear will chill, and this week's trading session will be a totally 100% bonkers. I don't think the fear is going to chill at all. I don't see any and that actually that was one of the things that I had wondered here today. I thought to myself, you should be able to judge the landscape here. If you see anyone doing any type of mea culpa after what happened yesterday, there's some hope. I didn't see any of that. I saw a doubling down. It's basically the same prism. Whatever prism you're looking through, that's what you see. Yesterday just extended that. So to your point here about the fear chilling, I don't know. I don't know if I see that, my man. We'll see.
Here we are with Wheeler turning green. This is not looking too bad here. eLab also doing the same thing. Looks like KTTA tried to do the same thing. Doesn't look like that's happening with that one yet. Wheeler running up to that 200 EMA, getting some resistance there. It's also got the 65 EMA above that as well. So those are going to be some resistance areas to watch for.
Elab, the level that I'm looking at here, the level that I'm waiting for here, 550. Already one rejection there.
Nice catch there, Matt Johnson with ICCT. So let's see what that one's doing. Come on, broker. Thank you. All right, so 525.
Nice.
So not too far away from where we were yesterday. The high yesterday was 535. Didn't halt on this move, though, interestingly. And Wheeler still kind of just going, kind of hanging out here in the middle after that pop up to the 200. ELAB sank beneath the VWAP. KTTA. This looks like it's trying to get going here after dropping beneath the VWAP, trying to recapture that now. And there we go. Now we're getting some movement out of KTTA. 218 is the pre-market high. Looks like somebody's walking down Wheeler's price.
Uber, watch 73 on a move up there. Wheeler, right? WHLR. Took that off my screen here.
ELAB sinking further. Wheeler may end up with a bit of a neutral candle here in the final seconds of this candle. That's whipping around here.
Tapas here. Tapas. This pullback looks like 2008, 2 days before the big dip, or this move up, I think is what he meant. Let's see. Place your bets, Tapas. Place your bets.
Okay, so there's KTTA holding above its VWAP. Really need to see some better volume out of this one, but it's certainly trying to push up. ELAB after
actually, this looks like a pretty good hold at that spot too on KTTA.
Mm-hmm. Just may need to be a little bit patient with some of these.
JD going higher. Wow, JD, tons of calls. The 3650 calls active here. This is the April JD April 3650 calls.
Here's ELAB coming right back up to its VWAP. KTTA also trying to push up. ICCT hanging out around its VWAP. Just above it looks like Wheeler went under 3.
Yeah, folks, JD here. The at the money call for the April contract here, extremely active. 2,000 plus contracts, multiple blocks there in the sweep. Apple a little bit higher.
There's a pull in KTTA. ICCT trying to push up.
Here's your ICCT. Yesterday's intraday high is what we're looking at here, right? 530. Excuse me. Oh,
I have 196 as a resistance area for Apple. And these movers from the list this morning, they're really providing some interesting price action here. It's kind of indecisive, it seems.
Hans, I love this. Sold some ICCT right up here at 520, right near the resistance area. Seems to me, based on what you posted here, you've left a little on because in case we snap this, that thing might go higher. You can probably sell into that. Hans, good stuff here early on one of our movers.
Okay, it looks like Wheeler's starting to make a bit of a move here, trying to recapture its VWAP. And looks like ELAB also trying to do the same. KTTA holding above its VWAP, as is ICCT. Those four seem to have the most interesting price action right now.
This KTTA, this is on danger of breaking down here. Yep.
And here, whoa, look at the whipping around we got there with ELAB. This thing might get moving some more if it can recapture that VWAP.
Break that. Oh, I see. A big pull there.
Yeah, it's just kind of back and forth. Pretty good day trading price action, but man, is it Is it scary?
Any thoughts on SOXL? Yeah, so SOXL, these ETFs, these have been the way that I have been trading the craziness here the last several days. I'm having way more success with these than any of these smaller movers, and I've pretty much exclusively stayed to that. The thought that I have here, especially on these levered ones, really what you want to do, unless you think something specific is going to happen and you're positioning for that, I think what you really want to do here is kind of wait out for these to get stretched from their VWAP. Or
here we go with Wheeler. This thing is starting to move better now.
Good luck. I'm going to completely pass on Wheeler. There will not be a trade for me on Wheeler here today.
Okay.
I'll find something else. AREB halted up.
There we go. That sounds good.
Don't see it reported here. I wonder if I have to reset that.
I see that it is halted. Halted to the upside. 670 is the high print.
Yeah,
looking for that 200 EMA at 699.
There we go. I fixed it.
All right, so ELAB pulling a bit after being unable to get back and hold above the VWAP. KTTA still holding above its VWAP. ICCT losing it. Got 20 seconds left in these candles. We'll see what we end up getting here. The U.S. president declared a state of emergency.
Wasn't that old news? That's when we first started the tariff thing.
Oh, I didn't know if that was today or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's old news.
Okay.
I think that's old news, my man.
All right, so wow, ELAB pulled down to its 9 EMA, and now it's trying to push back up again. Be careful with ELAB. This is looking like it's not as strong as some of these other movers. Volume's not great either. That doesn't mean we couldn't get a big sudden pop, but it's just not looking great right at the moment. KTTA, on the other hand, that's starting to get going. Let's see if we can get higher than 218.
550 still remains that spot there on ELAB.
ELAB trying to push higher again. A bad morning. Looks like ICCT, if it can recapture VWAP, that could get going. ELAB is killing you. I'm sorry, STFU. Let's see if we can get back above VWAP here.
Just going over Smoke Tuna's comment here. The way to stay out of crazy volatility is to get a good entry price. This is something that Anne-Marie talks about quite a bit as well. Patient, right? Be patient. Sometimes good till cancel orders lower than the current price is the way to do that.
Wheeler's starting to really move here. It's getting up into the 350s. Looking for a move over the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart, which I have at 368. And we're coming in. Down to VWAP.
HYFM came on. That's that hydro farm that came all the way back in. SDOW here. This is the inverse of UDOW. Again, we were just talking about SOXL and SOXS. This here for the Dow. This appearing on the scanner.
ZVSA.
As we continue to roll over a little here. Sorry.
This ZVSA. This is popping now. Just had a rejection of VWAP on 2 different candles here. Trying to get above VWAP now. The current session high is 146. We've actually traded this one before. I have levels. Oh, this is one we traded earlier this week, actually. I have levels going all the way back to 10 on this one, and I think this was on Tuesday. We were trading this one. It went up to 194. So there's one level you can look at. I had.
How about this 146 level that it literally stopped at already? That was your after hours high on Tuesday.
Yep, exactly. Great eye there. I still have previous levels from past price action at 178 and 192. Those worked out pretty well on Tuesday. If you were selling at those areas, that was pretty much the top of the day. So I'd be looking at that 178 and 192 those levels again. We're about 50 cents, 30 to 50 cents away from both of those.
Apple here still down 3.2%, but is actually trying to bounce. Dugan, good morning. Great to see you. Tesla here.
Oh, look at that big knife in ICCT.
Okay, I'll go back to Tesla here in a sec.
Sorry to do that.
Here's your knife in ICCT. We went through the VWAP there, right? Like this is coming. Yeah, this is you're going to be your 15 EMA on the 5. That looks like it's giving it some support there. Let me finish off on Tesla here real quick. Okay. 13. So Dugan here was saying looks like good entry for Tesla coming up. What level are you looking at here, Dugan? This is just. Are you looking at that 200 EMA on the 5? That's at 256.
Yeah, and then ELAB also halted to the downside. Meanwhile, KTTA new highs ripping.
Top end of this channel that we had outlined here, 253-ish. Okay. Let me know if you do enter there on Tesla, Dugan. I'd be curious. Extended that little area out here. Here's KTTA trying to take out its pre-market high.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else is moving here. So Wheeler popped up to close to its 200 EMA and then came back down to VWAP. I've seen a lot of sustained movement here in a lot of these names. ZVSA, that's also knifing pretty hard as well. Right back down to the start.
AREB still halted. Here's your ZVSA. 257 says Dugan. Okay.
That one from yesterday, 22nd Century, this tobacco company, that's having a pretty decent morning, up 10% now. Tesla is toxic.
I'm gonna stay away from that one.
Which one?
XIII, your cousin.
See you later, cuz. All right, so KTTA with the matching red candle almost here, right down to VWAP. Probably going to end up seeing a lot of this type of price action here. A lot of whipping around. ZVSA now halted. Oh gosh, almost down to $1. It'd be pretty bad if it went under $1.
Soon? No, this is a 3-cent stock. Sorry about that. I'm not commenting on 3-cent stocks here. Just FYI.
Yeah, let's see. Heat map 90% red. Says the whole 9 yards.
That should be expected after the huge move that we saw. Watch for that turn here. Breath is all red still, kind of waiting that out here. S&P, Dow, Qs, Russell, and Nice all red on the breath, but coming in a little bit. Your advancers to decliners up off the low. So it started here at like minus 2,000, currently at 1980.
Consumer defensives green today. That's the one sector it looks like is doing pretty well. Under healthcare plans, that segment of the healthcare sector, that's doing pretty well. Everything else, like you just said, is red.
Summit Therapeutics. This popped out of the open. Did we have news here on Summit? After hours yesterday, the director exercised in the money options. Well, so he kept them then, right? So he exercised a bunch of his options to keep stock as opposed to selling it, right?
Yeah.
Got a buy from Truist Financial. Summit here popping plus 8%.
That's a Tim Melvin bank.
Summit? No, this is Summit Therapeutics. Truist. Yeah, the upgrader. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Tim Melvin.
Oh, good mention, STFU. Sorry.
It's okay, but we need to talk about a couple of things. Tim Melvin came on yesterday. 2 of the stocks that he gave out were just absolutely moneymakers. Civi, here's your first one. This thing moved from 24 to almost 30. The other one here was Foot Locker. STFU, I know that you were talking about this one here yesterday. Just an absolutely massive rips. Tim, the beneficiary of some pretty good timing yesterday, I'll say that. pretty good stuff there from Tim. I hope you folks made money off this, either that or some of Matt Maley's calls.
On which time frame, STFU? I don't see a parabolic move on GME. I mean, we have a pop here in this 5-minute candle, but it's only it's like a 1% move, and it's actually getting to oversold on a smaller time frame. We could see this run into some resistance.
Dude, Dugan's got 2 points already off of that live trade call here.
Hell yes. I like it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's Masters Day. Like, what did I deserve such greatness from the universe?
Reb, yeah, thanks, Caleb, for mentioning that. American Rebel, that unhalted, gapped up, went higher, and now it's halted to the upside again. 821 is the high. ZVSA still halted. ELAB still halted. Looks like ICCT is trying to get back up to VWAP. KTTA, that's starting to print lower. Might end up coming down to 160. Yeah, Caleb, it's tearing up. It's great.
Nordstrom trying to go higher. How's the rest of retail doing?
I'm curious to see what the next retail report shows.
Me too.
Because there was a whole scare into people buying things to get ahead of tariffs. I wonder if that is going to be reflected in March's retail report, which I think comes out next week.
Okay.
And how about that CPI?
I'm interested in that too. You're bringing up a really good point, 13.
And how about that CPI? This is kind of what I was thinking we might start to see here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trump came on and said, hey, see, I told you inflation's coming down. Look at the CPI report.
CPI year over year for March, 2.4 versus the 2.5 estimate.
Mm-hmm.
The core CPI year over year for March, 2.8 versus the 3% estimate.
I was saying I think it's going to be below expectations. I was saying that in happy hour for a couple of days.
Yep.
So here we are with supposedly inflation coming down. I wonder if that's going to, what the Fed's going to think. Well, they don't look at the CPI as much as they look at PCE, so probably nothing.
Here's Dollar Tree. I know we looked at Dollar General earlier. Dollar Tree trying to march higher. Here's Dollar General. This also looks like this wants to maybe break higher. The level that we had there was the 200-day, right? Let me see. Let me just go to my other chart and grab that. I can't remember right off the top of my head.
Hey, sweet one, you go ahead and talk as much crap as you want about these penny names. You will not hurt my feelings.
89. Yeah, I'm not married to any of these silly penny stocks. I'm just trying to squeeze some money out of them. So you say what you got to say, buddy. There ain't no problem with that. Frankly, I don't really like them either.
Nobody should have
trade whatever's moving.
Nobody should have emotional attachment to these things. It's just paper.
Yep. And look, it's easier said than done. I mean, I'm guilty of that too. I'm guilty of being emotional over a story or a stock trade that I really want to work out. It happens. Being able to adjust that, being able to recognize and adjust that, really key. Tesla so far stopped on that bounce, but has not broken back down. VWAP seems to be the trigger here at 260.
We have ZVSA unhalted now. That's flirting with a dollar. KTTA, that looks like it could come. I'm still thinking KTTA finds some support around 160. So we'll see if that's the case or not. ZVSA trying to push back up. ELAB still halted to the downside. If this unhalts, I'd be looking for support at probably around the 65 EMA. The 200 EMA is also in that same area, and I have a level marked off at 420. So right around that area, we might see some support once ELAB unhalts.
STFU is asking, are you emotionally invested in DG? No, that's one of the stocks that I care the least about. I'm completely out of Dollar General. I made really good money on Dollar General. No, I could care less. I could care less.
Here we go. ELAB unhalted, and we just went right through all those levels I was mentioning. Now they're resistance.
Well, my signals tool is still not updating. What on earth is going on?
It just went right up to all those levels, and it just broke right through them, filling the gap that it just created. Okay, well,
it went right to the bottom of that candle, 13.
Yes,
no, it didn't quite print it, but man, oh man, that was close.
Yeah. So hope you had fun with ELAB, folks.
What about ARAB? ARAB unhalted, traded up into another halt.
That's the kind of, if you're going to play that one, you just have to kind of set your orders and then hang on.
Market Sniper saying this could see 20.
I wouldn't put it past
a double from here. You know, before I used to laugh at some of these. Yeah, not anymore. Kind of learned my lesson on that. Some of these we do see just ridiculous moves.
I wouldn't put it past him. Would not say it's impossible.
Yep.
At all.
You know what? I think one of the things that I've learned over the last couple of sessions here, last couple of weeks maybe, I don't think it's a good idea to say stuff is impossible. Because we've been shown that there is plenty of stuff that is actually in fact possible.
Here's some more movement in ICCT recapturing its VWAP.
Here, I'm going to bring ICCT up, and then I'm going to step away for just one moment. We'll be right back.
All right. In the meantime, while he's taking off, Care Solutions saying AMD dropping like a fly. Can you take a look? When he gets back, we'll pull the chart up. But in the meantime, I'll take a look and see what is happening here. So yeah, we're selling off out of the open here. Let's see if there's any news. Doesn't look. Hold on. Indian startup Zero develops system to run AI without needing advanced chips. I wonder if that's affecting NVIDIA as well. Well, NVIDIA's down also, and it's really starting to drop. Maybe that news is really affecting all these names. If that's not the case, then NVIDIA being down is also pulling the whole semi sector down, which is going to translate into AMD and Intel and a lot of these other names also losing some altitude as well. So it could just be that the sector's down. It could just be that news. See what Ryan thinks when he gets back. When we take a look at that chart. By the way, ICCT popped over VWAP and it's trying to hold above it now. Meanwhile, ELAB continues to go lower. There's a seller that appears to be walking it down. It might halt. There it is. It just halted again.
Which one?
ELAB. And while you were gone, we were taking a look at AMD and wondering why it's down. And I saw some news earlier this morning about an Indian startup called Zero that develops a system to run AI without needing advanced chips. Didn't realize that was much earlier this morning when that came out. But I looked around at some of these other semi names like NVIDIA and Intel. They're also down. So if that's not the news that's pulling it down, then it's probably just coming down because the whole semi sector looks like it's pretty weak at the moment. Just want to see what you thought. Why do you think this is coming down?
Are you asking me or are you asking the person that asked about it?
You.
Let's see. I mean, it does look like this is just kind of moving. What are the Qs doing?
Yeah, that's how I was at. It's like the whole sector seems to be doing. Wow,
Qs down 3%.
Sorry, ZVSA just completely cratered through $1. This is going.
Didn't we have some recent news on AMD? Oh, God, my brain is just so fried this week. I can't remember anything. I'm normally not good at remembering stuff to begin with, let alone now.
They had news about their some of their chips.
Yeah, the advancing AI. This was it. There was some stuff. Yeah, it was this. AMD. We talked about this yesterday morning, I think. This is going to be an interesting one. This conference is on June 12th. What comes out of this conference might be what kind of determines the next step here for AMD. Because we've said before, we were highlighting recently, 13, that the GPU product that they had just simply wasn't on par with NVIDIA. But with this most recent screw up, maybe there's now a gap that they can fill and get that product a little bit closer. The early indications are that their card is better. The next step of this, or the next phase in this, is then going to be its AI plan, rollout, future, all of that. And we should hear more about that on June 12th. This could actually be an important day for AMD. I don't know what's going to happen from this, but that could be an important day. That might not affect anything here today. This might just be a pullback after yesterday's power candle.
Voodoo, I see it in the happy hour chat. I will take a look at that after the show, and I'll put my thoughts in the chat on that. But thank you for posting it. He just put something in there regarding some accusation of Meta helping China undermine the U.S. So we'll see what the what
I think I saw briefly what he was talking about. Didn't read too much into that though.
Okay. By the way, ICCT, thank you for that mention there, Eric. That's knifing. That kind of engulfed most of the price action this morning. So not a good looking knife. Halted the downside right now. ELAB is still halted. Wheeler, that's still trying to push up here. Hasn't really gotten much higher than 360. So this thing continues to go around in circles. KTTA, that's coming down to a 65 EMA still. That's the 160 area I was looking for a potential bounce. So it's there right now. We'll see if this reverses or not. So far, it's not slowing down, but we'll see. And that's all I've got. Oops, holy crap, what did I just do? I just
clicked on the wrong thing and it readjusted some of the tools. Yeah, I do that every day.
I accidentally hit the wrong tool on the sidebar, so it just changed the screen. But I'm back. I'm back now.
I do it every day. NVIDIA falling back in here. Apple, curiously, remaining stronger. I would have thought the opposite. Tesla here, this actually broke to the downside here, back into that support area we're looking at. Wheeler does go round and round. Indeed, it does. Indeed, it does.
Thanks for egging on my terrible joke.
Smoke Tuna says, I guess it's a strange day today. The market is acting different. They are all strange, Smoke Tuna. They are all strange here. Market has not shown any strength yet for continuation after the power move yesterday. We'll see if we do get that here today. Just
be ready. Oh, here we go. AREB is pushing higher into 10. Just be ready for this to happen for the next 4 years. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
The next 4 years.
Done the best we can to prepare you.
Well, I forget who said that AREB to 20, but I didn't doubt you then. I'm certainly starting to doubt you even less. So
I didn't have much doubt to start with. I might actually have negative doubt for you now.
So 1050, that's the high it just reached. Now it's starting to pull a little bit.
Cam Smith, Shankopotamus right there. That looked like one of my swings.
CA Forsman's taking Disney long from 86.51. Let's take a look at Disney.
So what about the news? I don't know if this affects Disney, but what about the news that China is going to slowly take less films from the U.S.?
That affects Disney.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking here for that.
Yeah.
I mean, my initial reaction for the surface for that headline is who cares? But when you apply it to Disney, I think that could actually affect it here.
Also, where does Disney get their merchandise made? That's a question I'd like to know, but I'm pretty sure the answer is China.
Chris, out of the SPY short here, way to go. You are behaving very much like Matt Maley, who's been playing the back and forth on this with great success, by the way. Really good stuff there. Again, with those ETFs, that seems to make it a little bit more palatable. AREB here trying to get back over 10 into double digits.
Yeah, producer, no Snow White for China. Lucky them. I mean, if Disney's gonna pretend to be smart, they wouldn't release it any further. They have lost so much money. They need to make 700 million on that movie in order to break even.
So wouldn't you just kind of want to leave it out though and try and? I mean, you wouldn't pull it, would you? I guess does it cost money to have?
They should have backrolled this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
They should have backrolled it. It would have been a smaller loss, but they spent so much time making this, reshooting it, going through different don't even want to make sure I keep it safe here, but they've been going through like these different situations with actors and CGIing them, and then they had to spend all this money to market this thing, and then the theaters get their cut, which is about 50% of the gross sales. So yeah, they need to make 700 million in order for them to break even on this Snow White movie. Absolutely disastrous.
And what are they at so far? Like 140 after release?
Something like that. They're less than 200 million as far as the last time I looked. But
yeah, big trouble here. RCAT here, we did see this spike yesterday. RCAT here down on news of an offering, 30 million registered direct offering of common stock here this morning. RCAT down 18% here and pounding the lows.
ICCT down to its 65 EMA, trying to catch some support there. Wheeler lost view up again. That's starting to put in its third low around 280 again. Hopefully this is the final low it puts in for today, because it would be nice to see this move up. But I'm not going to, buy this and wish it does something.
Costco at the highs here. The demise of Costco has been greatly exaggerated as that tries to recapture 1,000, only 13 points away now.
Somebody was mentioning the low float for ARAB. The float I have in my broker is 598,000 shares. According to Benzinga, it's the same. So it's just under 600,000 shares in the float. Outstanding shares are it's the same. The float and the outstanding are the same.
Healthcare providers, UNH here leading the way higher after that news of increasing the Medicare pay. That was yesterday. The day before we got that?
Hey, Fairchild, at least start with the first one,
Monday.
and then you decide if you want to go forward with the rest of the series. But it was great. That was a great movie.
I stayed off of John Wick for a while. I didn't see it when it was in the theaters, and I stayed off of it because I just heard about the dog dying. And that's all I heard about when it first came out. Then when I actually watched the movie, just got past that scene, I was like, this movie is awesome.
Yeah.
John Wick is awesome.
Strong motivation.
I love Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves, both as a person and an actor. The guy is just absolutely awesome.
He's a real life badass.
Yeah.
You ever see him at the ranges?
Yeah, he trained, and it's his friend or his brother that has these home ranges that he trains on. It's phenomenal. You can tell the guy actually takes it seriously too, by the way he does it.
AREB making a new high now, 1066. This thing is really just everywhere. Be very careful if you're trading this, but so far, if you picked this up this morning, you're probably doing pretty well. Just want to see this continue to hold view up and move up and away from it.
So interesting. So CA Forsman here saying they, referring to Disney here, are dialing down budget big time and are going to focus back on animation and forget about these remakes for a while. This to me is bullish for Disney. If they're actually able to do that, I think this is the right move. Frankly,
forgetting about the remakes.
If they're going to be successful with that, that'd be awesome.
That's just part of their business. AREB continuing higher. That's just part of their business. The other part with the legacy media, the theme parks. Of course, you have Marvel and Lucasfilm, which are still not being run very well at this stage. But there may be hope, or some light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, that would be great for their animation department, and some of their movie segments. But they still have a lot of work elsewhere in other parts of their company. I saw a comment about how so was it Webcoin? Yeah, Webcoin said AREB did a stock issue on April 4th, so add 725,000 shares with warrants.
AREB ripping here still.
Okay, so I see that private placement. But okay, so 724,000 shares of common stock. Gotcha. Okay.
Seeing some Reddit calls get bought into this down move. Reddit yesterday's craziness recaptured 100.
Looks like they just closed
Tesla calls.
They just closed that yesterday. That private placement. So that could be why we're not seeing the change in the float structure. Because they just finished that yesterday. Thank you, Bitcoin.
Nice job, Chris.
Yeah, see, exactly. And maybe there is a new hope for Star Wars.
I see what you did there with A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked it, to be quite honest with you. I thought that was well done.
Yeah, Gaslit Circus Clown saying top three.
Is that not the best YouTube name I've ever heard?
We get a lot of good ones in here.
Yeah, we do.
Top three Keanu flicks: Matrix, Point Break, and Bill and Ted. I could agree with at least one of those.
The Matrix, hopefully.
Yeah.
The one. Because Matrix is so good. I mean, that series is so good.
One of the few movies that when it came out, it didn't have like a huge opening weekend, but it just ramped up because
Speed.
word of mouth. Speed was a good one. It's kind of underrated. I would like them to do a second one. I think they were talking about doing a sequel, but Constantine was a pretty entertaining one for me too. I know there's some others.
Yeah, I was never big on Constantine. Tal, this might be breaking out. This just took out its pre-market high. Education stock there. China bull shares trading up here. Okay.
AREB is halted again. 1133 is the high now. Nothing but green candles since after that first one, red one that we opened with.
Chris here saying anything below 80 on ticker DIS, and I'm going long hard. Do I have the Disney forward PE? Should be able to get that here for you. Here you go. Disney, this is coming into this morning, Chris. Forward PE here, 16. That's actually not bad.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually not bad. Also, don't forget Disney really positive on some of the analyst ratings there. And some of the recent price targets here would be pretty juicy here for a trade. Your top 5 most recent price targets: 115, 130, 135, 130, 130. Stock's at $86. So the next 12 to 18 months here, they're talking about possibly a $50 move here in some of these.
Move up?
Yeah. Based on the analyst rating and where the current price is. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. I don't know.
And
here's why I think that. If you look at a weekly chart, I think if you look at a longer time frame chart, you can see that this has been hammering the $80 level for a while. Going back to like 2014, ever since it moved over it, that has been a support level. And recently we've been hitting it more frequently. We have to hold 80. Otherwise we're going to be making like, 10-year lows.
So here's what I'll say, 13. 3 of those price targets that I read you came from early February, before the whole Snow White thing. So I guess then maybe ask the people at Rosenblatt, Morgan Stanley, and Needham if they have an updated thought on all of this. We'll see.
Maybe that's where they're trying to sell their shares at.
Which would make sense. Smoked tuna here. If smoked tuna and gaslit circus clown opened a restaurant, the signature dish would be an emotional sushi on a bed of confusion, served with a side of "I never said that."
When do you guys open?
When do you guys open?
Yeah, there's a side Disney. Of chop sumi.
Chop sumi. That's actually not bad. Disney continuing to come in here. Looking around, some of the small caps are actually holding up pretty well, which is encouraging to see.
Hey, Pete, I don't think there's a whole lot of people panicking in this group. But, I think you're right. If it weren't for that move, we would be seeing more downside for sure.
I was literally telling everybody every day not to panic. Just let it happen. The end of the world is not coming. I'm sorry. It's not. We're not going into a Great Depression. Like, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
He's right that there are some folks that are panicking, but I don't think you'll find them in this chat.
Nope.
SQQQ still rising. I haven't taken a good look at the SPY since we opened. How are we looking here with this? Down 4%.
SPY here, 526. Wheeler gave almost everything back.
Just realized
SOXS, back to our idea of ETFs being pretty good. We're seeing it again.
Well, looks like we may end up with an inside candle. I'm laughing because after yesterday's candle, it's almost like, you know, it's hard to escape unless you're going to print higher. All right, KTTA. This thing is getting a little bit of support from that 160 area where we were was talking about, that 65 EMA. I'm not sure we're going to see it come back up to VWAP quite yet, though. After this current green candle that we have on the 5-minute chart, there's a chance we could break beneath the 65 EMA again. Better support looks like it could be down at the 200 EMA, but we did get a little bit of a bounce there at this 160. So great. ELAB still continuing lower. What? Sorry, go ahead.
No, nothing. I was just kind of thinking.
AREB over 12.
Sorry about that.
Way to go, AJ.
Tell you what, this is where the action is here today.
Oh yeah.
We'll see if we get another tape bomb here, but
with just how extended it is, and I wanted to try and jump into this, but I just haven't had the cojones to get in here with how this has been running. Don't want to chase it either. And there's now there's a pull after hitting 1240. Maybe there's an opportunity coming for me, but still, gotta be careful with this one.
RSLS pretty much back into this sideways channel that it's been in all day. I don't know if there's anything there yet.
That's what I'm kind of thinking there, sweet one. You know, grats if you traded it, but for me, I just don't want to chase this thing.
Yeah. I'm not up for chasing. Given some of the moves that we've seen in some like big cap market, chasing just doesn't seem to be the right thing. Instead, you know, define your risk ahead of time. I mean, I think Matt Maley's really been the best way to do it, right? Use some of these options, position yourself ahead of time, wait for the move. When the move comes, scale out of it. That seems to be the smart way to do it.
Marcus, if you're talking about the 5-minute 90 EMA, because that would put it down at about 967. Not a bad looking spot, and it is beneath VWAP, but you know, I still don't think that's enough of a pullback, and I could end up getting slaughtered if that doesn't hold. Well, what a sideways price action for the moment.
I would say, given the huge move that we saw yesterday, I'm not entirely surprised by a little bit of mundane action here.
Yeah, I had some decent trades today. I did try Wheeler and ELAB. That's about all I've done. Haven't touched them since. Don't know what I want to touch right now. Looking like I'm still keeping an eye on FCX, the copper plays that had a drop out of the consolidation from this morning. Trying to recapture VWAP right now. It looks like it's curling, so maybe this one starts to get going again. Stupid levels for AREB? Oh, well, how about that? Why don't we go ahead and start looking for those? That sounds like a fun idea. Thank you for mentioning it. Let me see what I got. So, how about 2075? Does that sound like a good stupid level? Because that's one that I'm seeing. We didn't get too far away from that earlier this month. We hit a high of 2089, so just slightly higher than that. But this 2075, 2070, 2075, that area right there, that's where the 65 EMA is on the daily. And I certainly believe that we could see an outsized move up to that with how low the float is. Just need to see that volume take it up there like it did back in on the 4th.
Pete, they're all relative, my man. It's all relative. So I was actually listening. You guys are mentioning BYRN here. This is the story trading name. I was listening to this. I saw something on this a while ago. Non-lethal. Was it a pepper spray gun? What was this again?
Pepper spray is lethal?
No, I said
didn't know that.
non-lethal. I said
I know, but that implies that there are pepper
no,
sprays.
no. It's a non-lethal. Okay, I used the wrong term.
I'm
Sorry. Jeez. Yeah, so the whole company here is to create things that do not require lethal force. I'm pretty sure the gun was like a pepper spray thing. I've seen it before. In any case, I know I did see that Story Trading was talking about this one. Stock's interesting. I've never traded this. Having a really nice day here today.
How does this compete with the Bolo wrap? Because that's a non-lethal way to restrain somebody.
That's the cooler one, like the Bolos. Like that's that's
what I want. This that kind of like a bike chain almost, and it just wraps around your legs.
That's what I want.
Yeah, let me take a look at. Do you pronounce it Birna?
Yeah, Birna is
Birna. Okay.
I don't know what the correct one is. I'm not going to pretend to know. I call it Birna.
Probably moving more. It did have earnings today, but probably moving more because it also had high short interest, like more than it normally would have. Nice beat on the estimates though.
Crypto here, Bitcoin holding at 81,000. This is 81,300. Crypto fear and greed index at 39. So we're still in fear, but we are up off the super lows that we've been on.
STFU. I think shippers will get confused with that. What if we had an LTL shipment of LTLs?
I feel like I'm going to punch TLT in so many times incorrectly that it's going to make my head spin.
Crow mentioned, JNVR.
I was just going to say, how are those JNVR and Newsmax trades working? Crow did it again. Okay, Newsmax didn't work, so it maybe offset JNVR.
Yeah, I should have paid more attention to JNVR. That was a really nice setup. The initial pop there, the consolidation, setting up a bit of a bull pennant, and then the move to resolve it up to 36. That was great. Nice job, Jay. Nice job, Crow. Non-lethal projectile launchers. All right. AREB stupid levels 7.5, 5 or 2. Well, to the downside. Oh, this thing halted to the downside now. VWAP. Yeah, but stupid levels were always going to be about, how high can this thing go? I don't think downside levels are stupid. I just think those are just, potential places where any stock could go. $36.19 is the high in JNVR now. Okay. ELAB, man, this thing is just getting hammered.
Look at pain reform.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
Oh, stop it, Gary. All in.
He likes to make you nervous.
Okay.
The Garys. The Garys are a shifty bunch, and I mean that in a good way.
Scary Gary.
Here's your PRFX chart. This triangle is going to tell the story.
How is the SPY volume doing doing today, 13? Let's take a look.
27.26 million. It's much lower than these last couple of days by comparison.
Yeah. By now, we would have seen about 20 million more shares. Growing supply. Kansas City Fed Schmidt saying we also have Schmidt and I think who was the other
Goolsby and Logan.
Okay, yeah, he's saying growing supply of U.S. Treasury debt along with potentially shrinking demand is a recipe for higher interest rates in the longer term. JNVR now pulling down to
BJDX Blue Jay. Was this the good one or the bad one?
That's neither.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They had.
I'm retiring that because I don't think I've got it right even from the first day that we coined it. So I'm just going to retire it.
It was BRDX and BDRX.
Okay. I'm retiring that. Good one, bad one. Or the B one. BJDX, Blue Jay Diagnostics here at the highs and actually looking like on volume, trying to take out that intraday high. See if that has some more juice on it, if it can do it.
Oh man, STFU, I love your use of statistics. Perspective is such an important thing when you read STFU's comments. Even water guns can be less lethal, but water does have a higher body count than sharks each year. I'm sorry I'm laughing about that, but because it's not funny to laugh about
Nah,
that.
you
At the
ain't
same time,
it.
it's just the whole delivery. AREB went underneath VWAP, now trying to recapture it. Not liking the way these upper shadows are looking. Be careful with AREB. I need to see some more volume step into these, take out these wicks. KTTA now heading lower, coming down to that 200 EMA on the 5-minute. Looks like ZVSA is trying to made an attempt to get back up above $1. Couldn't do it. Looks like it's going to head lower. Same thing with Wheeler. That's going down towards the 250s. AREB still pushing up. It's getting some more volume. That's what you want to see. A coconut is more lethal than a knife. I know you were, Gary. I know you were.
Sorry, I'm taking a look here at the Twitter streets and seeing if there's anything I can find out there. I don't see anything great. Just kind of waiting this all out. Apple's popping a little bit here. Costco's still rolling. Bitcoin is still trading back up. I was like, when all the craziness was happening yesterday, when I saw everything rallying, I was like, please tell me that my bid on Bitcoin got filled. Sad trombone, it didn't. So I'm still waiting that out. But that would have been, you want to talk about chef's kiss. Come in to 70K, fill my order, and then bounce back to 80K. Oh my God, that would have been awesome. Would have been awesome.
Yeah, Tuesday, Intel, that we had Ed Edwards bringing up Intel. Intel had a pretty significant drop on Tuesday, probably the lowest we've had in years.
Yep.
All the way down to, gosh, we actually ended up getting lower than the November 2012 low. Let me see here. Yes, that low on that day was, come on, chart.
I have 1798.
Okay. So we did go lower. 1767 is the low from April 8th. So we hit that level from all those years ago. We're 13-year lows. Was that February? So it would be 13 years. Now we're seeing a strong rebound off that level. Now we want to see this hold. I want to see it hold.
Okay, the day before I had that 17. I got you. I looked at the wrong candle. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I want to see that 19 level hold. AREB, here comes that volume pushing us up higher.
Is it coming back?
It's back above VWAP. It's looking like it's getting some strength here, but needs more volume. Looking for 1240. Seems like a lot of parts of the market are trying to come back right now. Not everything. Let's take a look at the heat map. What is this showing us now here? Some of these names, like we're seeing some more financial names, like insurance names coming back up. Healthcare plans are going higher. Consumer defensives appear to be sideways to higher-ish. Target, on the other hand, not having a great day at all comparatively to the consumer defensive. Utilities also starting to get more attention as well.
Sweet one here saying, feels like the rest of the day is sideways until news. One other thing to keep in mind, you might be right on that. One other thing to keep in mind on that, sometimes when we've thought the day is just going to kind of be sideways in the absence of news, it actually kind of floated higher. Wouldn't be shocked if we do the same thing here today, but we'll see what the news cycle ultimately is.
I've seen that with NVIDIA when we re-entered this sideways downtrend channel. We ended up going back up to the middle of that channel, and now we're still beneath the 20-day SMA. And if we continue to trade beneath the 20-day SMA, I think we're going to probably end up coming down lower again, because we gotta hold above that for a time, longer than we were in February, and got to find our way out at the upside of this channel. I don't know how long that's going to take. What's a good entry on a web? You're asking the wrong person.
It was hours ago.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
When you heard that ringing at 9:30, that was probably the best time to do it. ICCT going lower, KTTA trying to get some kind of support going here. JNVR, two sets of prints beneath the VWAP and then recaptured. See if it can close this current candle above VWAP as well.
PRFX, we're still waiting for this to take out the trend line. It might not. CDT, this is actually bull flagging here on the 5-minute. See if we can try and go higher here on CDT, Charlie Delta Tango.
Right, Crow. We do have earnings for banks coming up. We are kicking off earnings season
tomorrow
with I think we have BlackRock, JP Morgan. I want to say there's one other. It's BlackRock, JP Morgan. Is it Citi, or let me look at my calendar here and see who it is that's on deck.
Yeah, and real quick, so you're talking about earnings tomorrow. We did have CarMax report earnings this morning. Lovesac and CureVac reported earnings this morning. Berna, which you just talked about.
So it's BlackRock, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and Bank of New York Mellon.
The banks. The early crop of banks are what we get tomorrow.
And Morgan Stanley. So a lot of the really big funds, really big banks.
Yeah. Morgan Stanley, an investment bank, very much like Goldman Sachs. AREB here open, trying to go back to 12. What about Rigetti? You know what? Good call. I didn't look at any of the quantum names here today. Hey, look at this. Rigetti actually did a really good job holding its gain from the power move yesterday. We actually tried to go higher than the intraday high, could not snap that. I'd watch 950 here on Rigetti. I guess first you could watch that intraday high. That's what, 946, 47, but 950-ish here on Rigetti for the next move higher. I'm surprised that this actually held it. Did the rest of these?
Well, let's see.
Here's QUBT. Yeah, it didn't really break down. QBTS. I think folks are probably, all of these look the same. IONQ.
They all look like they're putting in W-shaped. Well, maybe not QBTS. That looks a little different. But a lot of these, to your point, what you were saying about looking the same, they kind of look like they are trying to form some W-shaped recoveries here after selling. Especially Rigetti. Holding above the 20-day SMA, I think that's kind of important. Let's see if we can recapture the 50. That's the one that's been really suppressing the price lately. We've had breaks over the 20 and printed above that before we went back beneath it. We need to take out the 50-day SMA.
Okay.
Tom V saying IonQ just spiked up just now because Ryan was talking about it.
What happened?
I'm just kidding. IonQ spiked up just now.
Oh, that was because I had mentioned it?
Yeah.
I'm surprised it wasn't because I took it off the screen. That's normally what happens. Ryan, I missed my 561 fill for SOXL. How did you get the 561 level? Was that a number I was supposed to be looking for? 561. I mean, we weren't even close to that. I don't know where you got that number from. 561 fill on Wednesday. I mean, dude, the low on Wednesday was $8. It wasn't going to 561. But my order didn't fill, then up $7 per share on Jim. I'm sorry, man. I cannot follow what you just said. I have no effing idea what you're talking about. Not sure.
Crow mentioning a new candle on the 1 hour for JNVR. Looking for 40. He'll hold or break even at 29. Do I have that right, Crow? That's what you're saying here. You'll hold at 40 or break even at 29.
AGL Kathy, I think, was in here mentioning AGL yesterday, or maybe it was it the day before. This actually curling back up here. What was the high on this initial candle that we had here? 608. Okay, AGL. This is another one from earlier this week that's still got some action.
We get a little bit more volume expansion here with AREB. We could push back over 12. It's holding above VWAP, but it's putting in some dojis right now.
CarMax getting just totaled. Down 19.5% here post earnings, down 1550.
ER earnings miss.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happened here. That's a pretty big drop.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And I'm seeing calls get bought into this move down.
Wonder why the drop was so bad. I don't think that EPS miss was that substantial. They did say they see some, over $500 million CapEx. I don't know if that's
CarMax accelerates used car sales growth despite an earnings miss. Wholesale units increased 3.1% year over year. Comparable store used unit sales increased 5.1% year over year. What are we missing here?
Maybe it was because if there were tariffs on new cars, these used cars would be easier to sell.
Yeah. So why would this be down on that?
Because the tariffs are being kind of withdrawn, but then also the earnings.
Okay,
so that's all. That's the only thing I can see.
Okay, so we're thinking that in addition to a poor earnings print, we have the thesis crumbling that used cars are going to be more sought after due to the tariffs.
Right.
Okay.
Because they've already been in the United States, sold it to parties in the United States, so they're past tariffs now. They're not going to get hit. But every other car that's manufactured outside the United States, it's being sold to dealerships. Well, they're going to still get hit with tariffs. Well, they were anyway. Okay, well, it looks like JNVR trying to start this next 5-minute candle higher. But the spread on this thing is making me a little nervous. I'm not in it.
CarMax continuing to go to the downside here.
The daily chart looked like it wasn't overbought or anything. We're coming down to we're coming down to 2023 from December prices. Just kind of wiped out the entire last year with some of these moves.
Newsmax down here at 31 from 280 plus.
Well, let's put some levels in here for CarMax.
KMX. Let me go. I can go to my bigger chart here.
So we probably want to put some levels of the lows of October of 2023. That was a good month. Then probably some lows from March 23, and then finally the low from January 23. Those would be the next three areas I'd be looking for. We do have some lower levels back from the pandemic, but I'm not so sure we're going to start going down to pandemic levels. Those lows under 50. So I would just kind of look at those levels for now. Maybe 52, 56, and 60. To buying opportunities as STFU, it certainly seems that way, making these lows that they're making now. But I'm not trying to catch a falling knife either.
Mm-hmm.
So this, just like Matt Maley and a lot of us have been saying, if you are interested in buying something that's making new lows or is attractively priced, it may be better if you just eased your way in. Did some dollar cost averaging down. Until we have determined that the bottom is in, just to protect yourselves and not bet the house on a price that's just going to not be the low or anywhere near the low.
Yeah, this is interesting here. Kenneth here mentioning check correlated stocks like Carvana. So Carvana here did not have earnings, but this is down 6.5%. It's actually traded up 10 points off of its intraday low here today on Carvana. So this was down more earlier, to your point there, on maybe the larger thesis here of used cars maybe not being as targeted since the tariff pause.
Yeah, and then this one also has an insurance angle with Root as well.
Yeah.
Now this chart, looking back over the past couple quarters, doesn't have the greatest price action. It kind of looks bearish to me. Really not liking the 50-day SMA suppressing the price pretty much ever since we lost this that SMA back in late February, all through March and this month. It's been trying to get back above the 50-day SMA to no avail. Still, today it's holding above the 200-day SMA and the 20, which is great, but that 50-day SMA is the one that's keeping the price down. We need to recapture and hold above that.
Ed says, I'm giving up for the day. It's all wishy-washy. Look, if you don't have an edge, don't boredom trade, Ed. I actually think that's a smart move here. Sweet One saying, a financial analyst writer said Costco has at least 81% of its goods from China. Remarkable that it's up today. I don't think his stat is correct. The other thing to keep in mind with Costco, we've been hearing from the CEO and other C-suite executives that they are not concerned about tariffs. There were a couple of folks that laughed when I read that quote. Just saying. Costco here looking like it's going to try and retake 1,000. This company knows exactly what it's doing and how to operate properly on very thin margins. To me, I would sell this. I would sell that financial analyst's take on this.
For Costco, you have a potential gap fill just over 1,000, starting at about $1,002.50. That takes it up to about 1,020. There's that potential gap fill in there, but keep in mind that back in December, we didn't have that gap yet, but we did try to trade up into that the area where the gap is, and we got some pretty stiff resistance just over 1,005, pretty much between 1,005 and 1,010. There was a lot of resistance that took this thing back down to 900. So could see some additional resistance in there when we get back up to that area. Just keep that in mind.
Costco here moving through its 50-day moving average today. Let's get a couple of closes above that. Giddy up. That would be sick.
Getting asked about PayPal.
This is a good question. Who asked that? Ivan? Let's go, Ivan. So I'll let you go first because I want some of your levels here. I'll even give you a little hint. Preview. I want this. I want to own this stock. I want to own this for the long term. I want to take a long-term position on this. I use the product and I like it. But 13, what do you got here levels-wise?
Well, I have a line here. It's not I just kind of, drew it with a trend line, but it looks like at about 64 or 64.50. This is where I was intended to try to make this line show up here. So I'll have to double check and make sure that's what the case was when I drew it. But it's looking like 64 could be a pretty interesting level to get back above. We did kind of bounce off of it back in the end of March before we broke beneath it earlier this month. Now we're trying to recapture that very same level. And we have a number of SMAs in the way, the 20, the 500, 50, and 200, all just really within about $15 of, or maybe really $10 of each other. So I think it's gonna be tough going for PayPal trying to get back above those levels with all these resistance areas that we have. I see others that, not just at 64, but at 67, at 71. We have a death cross from April 1st that could continue to suppress the price, and then this has a large buy now pay later exposure. If you're looking at a weakening consumer and you have a lot of buy now pay later debt on your balance sheet, you're kind of wondering if that's ever going to get paid back. I don't think it will be, but that's what I've been saying with PayPal for a while, is that the buy now pay later angle is a very big risk to this than other companies. So for me, this looks like there's more potential downside, maybe even down to 50.
So the level here, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I agree with you on the buy now, pay later risks or headwinds. I don't think they're going to be that big, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it's going to be enough to really offset this. Now, as far as some of the levels down here, that $50 level, that did kind of jump out here. This is a level that we had talked about from 2023, I think, right? Yep. October of 2023.
Such a good month. Such a good month.
That was a pretty good month. Okay. I do like this. I want to see really it's kind of bottomed right here and held. No position yet. I'll let you know if I end up taking one here. Brett, you guys 13 and Ryan, how the heck you guys been doing?
Brett.
Looking great. Hey Brett, good to hear. Lots of working out, lots of following the crazy market news, and lots of interacting with the community. So 3 amazing things, to be quite honest with you. We're doing good. It's great to see you again and have you back here.
He's asking if we've been watching the ICCT shenanigans for days and days. Man, we've been trading the shenanigans.
I haven't been. I don't want to put that out there. I've been staying away from ICCT, but the group here sure has been. Mm-hmm. Not only have we been watching it, but we've been active.
And we've been pretty good about understanding our risk with ICCT. We had a really good outline of this going to $7. We got that, and since then it really hasn't been holding up there. We've been getting some brief spikes out of the gate, but typically what this does is sell off after that spike. Didn't get that yesterday, so we could be seeing some turning around, but got a lot more proving to do for me before I think this goes up higher than the 5 or 6 areas.
Hood trading up here.
Doing scalp pumps. Well, I think this had some news on financing. I believe, wasn't this one the one that had like the $42 million financing? Let me double check that. I want to be sure I get this correct. But I thought there was some kind of headline that drove it up, and the momentum just kept it going. Let's see here. Nope, that's not this one. It must have been a different one that I saw. So yeah, I don't have exactly the reason why this is moving. It just started moving one day, and we started trading it. There was another one. Cancellation agreements on warrants. There's a bunch of news prior to this move, so I don't know how much of that is causing this to move up. We were looking at this thing going to 7. It got there, and now we're just kind of being careful with it. MBOT is elevating due to FDA approval. MBOT. That sounds.
It's been moving up today. It moved up yesterday in the pre-market, came back in, didn't do a whole lot. Today looks like it's trying to return to those highs. We did get a price target here, maintaining a price target reiteration here from Wainwright. I don't know how much stock you put into that.
This sounds.
The PR we discussed yesterday as one of the movers.
Okay, yeah, this sounds very much like iSurge almost. Right, because they're robotic surgical systems. That's what this is. This news is on. Let's see. Let me just pop this out here and read it. HC Wainwright rated buy rating on MBOT. Price target $9. Citing their impressive results from their pivotal trial for their Liberty endovascular robotic system, which demonstrated 100% success rate in robotic navigation. Folks, we're going to have robots operating on us in the not too distant future. Also, this has some significant short interest here, 15.67% with 5.71 days to cover. That's what we're looking for in terms of a short squeeze here.
HYFM, that Hydrofarm Holdings mover, that is actually starting to make a move back to the VWAP here. So that was weak right out of the open, but may start firming up here. STFU saying, Ryan, I heard you were bullish on Mullen. Yeah, I'm secretly trying to go full port into Mullen in different stages to try and jam Jay Rice's short. But I have like 2,000 plus points to go, so I don't know how successful I'm going to be with that. Just kidding, of course. That was for entertainment purposes only. I wouldn't touch Mullen with your money.
STFU mentioning GME. That's still steadily moving up since the open. I think the open we had was about just under 25. Now we're looking at a high of 26.13.
Jay says Bernhard Langer -1 through 7. There's still a chance for you, Ryan, although he's 68. That's nice of you. I will take the comment, but I can assure you there is no chance for me to even be in the same sentence as some of these folks.
I just saw the Ed Edwards mention of Southwest Airlines ticker LUV. This thing not having a great day, but airlines really aren't right now. I'm going to be on one of these planes in June, so say a prayer for me. Looks like yesterday it had that's not okay. So it is a pretty good day it had yesterday, along with the rest of the stocks. Couldn't quite get back up to the 500 and 200 day SMAs. Selling a little bit here. Might find some support around this consolidation it was having from earlier this month, like earlier this week and some last week. But I don't know where the support's going to be if it continues to go down. If I had to guess, probably around 20. I see there's some support at 22. That's from, how about that? From October 2023. Such a good month. I'm probably going to keep saying that. Why would I fly Southwest? Because of what the airport that I go to typically offers. I can either go to Hobby or I can go to George Bush. And George Bush is kind of a nightmare to get through. So I prefer to go to Hobby, and that's where Southwest flies out of mostly. So I don't mind Southwest. Southwest is fine. It's these other carriers you got to avoid, like Spirit.
I actually saw a funny thing on Spirit yesterday, a comparison from Delta to Spirit. It was amusing. I'm not thrilled about flying either. Got to do it here in a little bit. Actually, I guess I'll give you the first preview. Friday, May 2nd, which is 3 weeks from tomorrow, I will not be here. You will have 13, I believe 13 running the show himself. I don't know what our plan is for that yet. I will not be here on Friday, May 2nd. We will still be doing something, I believe.
All right, we'll figure that out later.
We'll keep kicking the can down the road on that one.
Hey, STFU, I'm sure that's the case. I'm not going to Seattle or Oakland. It's really just where I had to go and who I and which airport I conveniently am going to fly out of. So Southwest it is. It looks like a bear flag on KTTA, says Lion Atlas. Sorry.
Yeah, Lion Atlas is dead right on that. Here you go. Got that on the screen here. It sure does look like this wants to go lower. Does look like this one wants to go lower. Okay, we still have 10 minutes left. We're going to 11, maybe 10:59, but we're going to 11 here. But I just wanted to kind of reiterate what's up next here. Join us with Directions experts as we explore the world of leverage and inverse ETFs. This is timely AF because those have been the trades to play recently. As we explore the worlds of leverage and inverse ETFs designed to help traders and investors capitalize on market volatility, you don't say, as 2025 brings in new economic challenges and market fluctuations, these powerful tools can help provide amplified returns or hedge against downturns. I'll tell you what, bonus points and a free hot dog to whoever wrote that, because that is about as accurate as it gets. It is about as accurate as it gets. That Direction webinar is going to be coming up right after us. I'm going to send you over there. We're still going. Don't worry. We're not signing off now. We're still going.
JNVR is blasting off through 40. Like, holy crap. Yes, Mike, I do have the approved driver's license that allows me to travel.
I do not.
I also have a passport.
I see. I don't. My passport is expired. This is JNVR, by the way. This is ridiculous. Again, right back to your crazy level. I am like, man, I think I'm done May 4th, and I think that new law goes into effect May 7th. And it's just like, I gotta get on that. I have no idea where my birth certificate is. I mean, good Lord.
You want to know a trick for getting your passport the same day?
Yeah.
So if you can go down to the actual office that issues them, and you, let's say you buy it, you have to buy a ticket to show you're actually traveling out of the country. present that to them when you do an expedited passport. They'll need proof that you're trying to travel out of the country. They'll get that done for you the same day. Then you just go and cancel the ticket. Get your money back. Yep.
That's funny. I'll let you know if I end up trying that. That's
if you need more details, I'll get it all to you because my wife used to work in global mobility, so she knows all the tricks.
Oh man, that's not. I tell you what, you get tips and tricks here too. We don't just talk about the market. We give you tips and tricks. I really need to get this real ID though.
Yep.
I really need to get it. I will say shout out to the Illinois Department of Motor Vehicles. The DMV now finally in Illinois, you make an appointment. So you don't just show up and sit with a mass of people for God knows how long to not get your thing done and to get screamed at somebody that's angry. Instead, you make an appointment and you actually act like we're in the 21st century. So shout out Illinois DMV. 3D says, thank you for that tip. There you go.
No problem.
Mike is going to the DMV next week. Mike, bless up, son. I hope you're okay, man. Make it through that. DMV is awful.
Yeah, making an appointment. It's an appointment just to stand in line.
You know, I'm from all the reports that I've heard is that it is absolutely better. It's not perfect, but it's better. And frankly, anything, if anything is better, that's we'll take that. We'll take
the system. I like the system they have out here. It's not DMV, it's DPS, Department of Public Safety, but they will. You can go there and they'll give you, if it's busy, they'll give you like a time that you can come back and they will take you right away. That's worked out really well.
Oh, Lion's asking about Jim Cramer. Don't forget, Lion, one of the reasons that we ripped yesterday is because Jim Cramer called for a 20% down move from the Monday lows, basically calling for S&P cash of 4,000. So that's definitely one of the reasons we ripped.
So who was still trading JNBR? I think it was
Crow. Yeah, I think Crow's in that one.
Okay, well, we might not ever hear from him again because that just had a life-changing move. Going from breaking out from 37 to 77.
Yeah, Kathy here mentioning that gold stocks are having another nice day. Sorry, I didn't mention that earlier, Kathy. I don't know if you caught it, but I did check on the miners and the gold ETF. These things have just been staircases higher. Here's my issue with this. I feel like I'm not positioned in gold. I know we talk about it enough. I'm not positioned enough in gold. We talked a little bit about silver, which I guess has some overlap there. But I mean, I feel like the second that I buy, here's your gold chart. The second that I buy this, bloop, we go right back to 240. So I've just kind of stayed out of gold, but you're absolutely right. These have been strong. And the other thing here is I'm a very, very firm believer that if you are trying to buy gold, for the rainy day, just in case stuff hits the fan, I actually think that this is worthless. I think you are way better off buying physical gold, throwing that in your safe. Not a huge fan of the paper gold products.
What's silver at?
I have the futures ticker in front of me, my man. iShares Silver Trust here, 28.22. I
don't think I've seen a massive upside move in the gold silver ratio like this for some time. Silver could. This is when the ratio is this high, silver looks really attractive to me.
Okay. Day trader here. Did you guys see how JNVR is trying to be the strategy of Solana? I did not. So they're trying to buy up the Solana inventory and put it on their balance sheet. Boy, if I could type the ticker, we'd be in good shape here. Janover shares trading higher after the company announced it acquired 4.6 million of Solana as part of its treasury strategy. That might be interesting. I wonder if this is going to work for all these companies that are doing it. And if it does work, I wonder how well it's going to work. It's either going to be, I feel like it's either going to be boom or bust.
Well, one thing that we've got to remember with JNVR, dollar data trader, that the catalyst is one thing, but the very low float is the other reason why we're seeing such outsized moves. This thing has less than 600,000 shares in the float. AEM is the best gold stocks, hands down.
That's a minor, right? AEM.
Yeah, it's had a really good, 2024 and 2025. Yeah, the float was a guess. Absolutely. As soon as that spark hit,
this actually is a sweet chart, Lion.
Mm-hmm. My favorite, and this isn't necessarily a gold play, but my favorite of the metals plays, and it's not a minor either, was Wheaton, WPM.
Yeah. Don't get a real ID, just get the passport. The real ID is a lie, and it leads to the vaccine passport. Your choice, though. I'm not sure how it leads to that. I obviously don't support that whole vaccine craziness. That was absurdity. Certainly don't support a passport for that. I don't see the connection there, though. And I feel, but the larger point that you're making here about getting the passport over the real ID, I probably should focus that, to be honest with you. I should probably get I almost feel like getting the real ID is easier, but maybe not if I'm going to need a birth certificate for both of those.
Yeah, I've got both.
Yeah, see that. You know what? I might just do that. 13, especially since if I'm gonna do it, might as well do it right. If I'm gonna get the birth certificate, might as well do both of those. Okay, yeah. Folks, we're pretty much done here. 13, we gotta wrap it up. We can't be late here today. You got any closing words for the group?
Hey, folks, another great day. Hopefully everybody's making money. Congratulations with ARAB and JVNA or VR.
JNVR, yep.
JNVR. Great stuff. We'll be back here tomorrow. Enjoy the next show, and I will see you then. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
All right, 13, really good stuff here today. Take care. I'm going to send you over to the Direction webinar. It's been a crazy week. We're going to wrap the week up tomorrow on Friday. We're going to close the week out strong here. Have a good one, folks. I'm sending you over to the Direction webinar.